But I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's light in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It's Tuesday night, and that means it is show night. We're back to talk about all of the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal. We talk about the 24-hour news cycle. We talk about propaganda. We talk about the government. We talk about academia. And we talk about reality and how reality is changing. And how your reality is being changed digitally by the technocrats, unelected officials that would manipulate your every thought with algorithms. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, isn't there? Yeah, that's why we do it. That's why we do this show. There's a ton of things out there that really don't get a lot of play, and I think that it's somebody needs to step up and talk about this stuff, right? Oops, I got a double stream here. Sorry, guys. There we go. All right. Okay, so here's the deal, right? There are a ton of things that need to be talked about that don't get any airplay. All right, it's clickbait when it does work. And at best, they just kind of gloss over it for the clickbait value, for the propaganda, and then they move on. That's the way the media works, right? That's the way the news cycle works. That's the way all this works. And so for people that are legitimately interested in things like, oh, I don't know, let's say UFOs, then you get these situations where the clickbait media, they'll gobble up some breaking UFO news, right? Like the To the Stars Academy announcement and the New York Times and, this stuff a couple years back, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight in a little bit different way because there's more UFO breaking news today. And so clearly, everybody's going to use it up for the clickbait value, and everybody's going to misrepresent it as much and as quickly as possible and squeeze every drop of ad juice, like actual AdSense, Google AdSense ad juice out of this and then move on to the next thing, right? This is the way the media works. And it's unfortunate. It's a sad state of affairs. And it's why we do the show like this. It's why we talk about these things. And yeah, so that's what's coming. That's what's on deck tonight. We are going to be talking about UFOs again. All right. It's one of those things that is near and dear to my heart because, of course, what are they? If there's intelligence behind them, who are they? Is a lot of this propaganda, and we're supposed to sit back and allow the government sources or the experts or, the quote UFO experts, whoever these people claim to be, are we going to sit back and let these folks tell us what's up, or are we going to take the bull by the horns and discuss this and think about this and ask our own questions? And that's what's up. That's what's up with this show tonight. That's what's up with this show all the time, every single time we do this, because there's just a little bit more. A little deeper, you could say, than just regular, boring clickbait. And that's what this show's about. This show's about talking about things that we they're important to us. And as I sit here and ramble on about these things, they are important. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this show. Coming up on 3 years now, like I say, I'm always very proud of that. It's a lot of work that goes into this. But think about the conversations you don't get without shows like this, without networks like the Fringe FM. Did I mention? We're broadcasting on the Fringe FM. We're streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on YouTube. And if you don't get these types of conversations, you don't get them anywhere, right? So anyway, as I continue to ramble, I also want to point out that we are live tonight. This show has always been live. This show will always be live. And if you want to be part of it, you can give us a call. It's as simple as this. Dial this phone number, 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org, and you can be on the show that way as well. We're always watching the phone lines, always watching the Discord. If you do join the Discord, want to be on the show, just jump in the caller queue. And then when I get a minute, I'll bring you on the show, and we'll talk about UFOs. Because, well, back in the news again is UFOs. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubledminds.org. There's another Discord rolling with lots of good, smart people there. Join that as well. I'm watching all the chats, watching all the things. You go to fringe.fm/chat, and it will invite you to the Fringe FM Discord. Get in there, and lots of smart people, lots of nice people, knowledgeable people. Hop in and come say hi. Okay, so the breaking news. Let's get to that. Let's get to what we're talking about today, and we'll go into this in depth. Okay, and that's exactly what the heck is going on. And here's one of the clickbait outlets I was talking about. This is the dailystar.co.uk. All right. If you're watching the live streams, I'm putting these links up as always because I want you to see my sources. I'm not making these things up. I'm not frivolously just hip shooting and trying to make up some alien stuff with some this or that or the other. These are things that are happening and being reported by these news outlets or articles or whatever the heck they are, right? Whatever you want to call them at this point. I don't even know. It's become fake news, garbage media. I don't know. Like you fill in the blank, whatever this happens to be. But okay. Let's go to this one real quick, and this is what we're talking about tonight. This is the topic. Now, this is a little bit weird because this seems to be resurfacing back into the news again. So I'll fill you in on this as we go. But what the heck? From the dailystar.co.uk. All right. Headline reads this: Pentagon admits to carrying out tests on futuristic UFO debris. Expert claims. The Pentagon has recovered UFO debris and conducted tests on futuristic materials, a flying saucer investigator has said. Tony Bragalia claims there are files relating to a mysterious metal found in the Roswell UFO crash in 1947. 1947 Roswell. Again, right? Somehow this always seems to circle back into the news cycle. And so why in particular? We'll get to that in just a second. Let's read some of this article and talk about this. But have you guys heard of this? Did you guys see this breaking news today? This is all hitting right now. This is February 9th, 2021, and it's all brand new. This is all these media outlets are starting to pick it up. And like I said, they're going to squeeze every drop of ad revenue they can out of this. And this is part of it. This is part of it. So let's just read a little bit of this article so you know what's actually going on here. Well, quote, actually, according to this source, the tabloid from the UK, the Daily Star. But here we go. The Pentagon has recovered UFO debris and conducted tests on futuristic materials, which are a quantum leap ahead of current technologies, a flying saucer investigator has claimed. ET expert Tony Bragalia submitted a FOIA request to the U.S. Defense Department on December 26, 2017. Now, I'm going to stop right there, and we'll continue with this article. But do you remember what was going on December 26, 2017? Anybody remember? I'm pretty sure that all of the To the Stars Academy stuff was just dropping, right? I think that was almost the exact month where they had the news conference with Tom DeLonge and the UFO expert who was Lou Elizondo had left the ATIP, which is the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program inside the Pentagon, and they had just come out that month actually, and talked about how they're going to be bringing in disclosure. Of course, they didn't use that particular word because it's a loaded word, but they did. These are the things they said, all right? And so December 26, 2017 is when this FOIA request was sent to the U.S. Defense Department, Department of Defense, by Tony Bragalia, all right? Okay, there we go. So he basically probably, just surmising here, was inspired by this new UFO information and put in a FOIA request, all right? Well, he got that FOIA request back recently, all right? And so that's where the rest of this comes in and where this breaking news hits. So let's continue this article. Reading on the dailystar.co.uk and talking about a FOIA request and how, anyway, let's read this. So this ET expert Tony Bragalia has recently shared links to a Defense Intelligence Agency's belated response more than 3 years on. A letter dated January 8th this year provided partial responses to his request for, quote, all information on test results on UAP material from Bigelow Aerospace, end quote. All right. We just did a show last week, did we not? On Bigelow Aerospace, on Robert Bigelow, the man himself. Remember in that show when I said it didn't seem like Lou Elizondo and all roads lead to Rome when he made that statement, and he meant Rome as his desk? I said it sure seems like all roads lead to Bigelow when we're talking about UFOs. Many things in ufology. We talked about NASA and his contracts and his connections with the government and all the rest of this, right? Like there's a lot that Robert Bigelow is involved with, including his aerospace ventures and all the rest of this, okay? But anyway, they were looking for this again. All information on test results on UAP material from Bigelow Aerospace. All right, the article continues here from the dailystar.co.uk, one of my favorite tabloids. Mr. Bragalia claims the futuristic materials could have the power to make things invisible, compress electromagnetic energy, and may even slow down the speed of light. Yeah, straight from the article here, right? This is fantastic. This is better than science fiction, right? This is science fact from a UK tabloid, but we can't hate all the sources all the time, can we? Okay, so anyway, we'll get to his article. So he actually, I'm going to link this if you guys want to actually check this out. If you guys are following in any of the chats, as you know, I love to link my sources because I don't want you to just think I'm here hip shooting, making things up, because I'm not. I am not. This is, here we go, linking this, and you guys can follow along. This is the actual article where the guy talks about this, Tony Bragalia, okay? And he's got a site called UFOexplorations.com. And I just linked it in the chat. Hold on, let me drop it in here and make sure it's in. Okay, it's all in the chat now. It's in all the chats. Now, this is the actual article where this information comes from, okay? And it's the headline here is, we'll get into this later, but the headline is, Pentagon admits it has UFO debris, releases test results. Okay, so we'll get into this in a little bit, but back to the tabloid article, and of course, right. So you have the actual source itself, and then you have the tabloids, and you have the people that, like I said, would try and squeeze every drop of ad revenue from these things, and not even really care about the actual, I don't know, what would you call it, the greatest cover up in the history of the world. If the actual government is covering these things up, right? Instead of kind of delving into that a little bit, they're going to just clickbait and move on, right? It's what they do. So here we go. We're going to continue from this dailystar.co.uk article, which I did link, and I'm going to link one more time in the fringe chat. But okay, here we go. Writing online, Mr. Bragalia said, now officially referred to as UAP rather than UFOs, some of this material was placed with a defense contractor for analysis and storage in specialized facilities. Incredibly, part of the information released discusses material with shape recovery properties, much like the memory metal debris found at the Roswell UFO crash in 1947. Now, if you're interested in UFOs at all, clearly you know about the Roswell story, so we're not going to go too deep into all that, okay? That's another conversation for another time. There's so much there. You could probably spend weeks and weeks and weeks digging into all the nitty-gritty details regarding Roswell, okay? But one of the things that many of us do remember that's relevant here is we had the, I think it was Jesse Marcel, right? I believe that was his name, just going off memory here. But I believe he was the guy that was in the photograph, if you guys remember, from the newspaper, where he was crouched down in the corner. It was a black and white photo. And it appeared that he had this tinfoil type of material, right? Some sort of something. It was what they called the remnants of this weather balloon that had crashed, okay? And this is where the cover-up and the conspiracy for all of this really began, okay? And then shortly thereafter, as many of you know, or many of you may not, this was July in 1947, and just after that, Eisenhower actually enacted the National Security Act. All right. And so they were able to hide these things under the guise of national security. Okay. And so they did. And, like I said, a coincidence there that Roswell happened, and a mere month later, they put in the National Security Act, and we're still kind of living under that curtain of opacity. How many years later? 60, 70 years later? I don't know. My math is bad, but I know it's been a long time. Okay. So that particular material that was in Jesse Marcel's hand in that photograph in the newspaper, the Roswell newspaper, that is what we're talking about. This metamaterial, right? Which, again, has resurfaced in the news over and over and over throughout the decades, which, again, it kind of makes me suspicious. This thing keeps coming back, right? This metamaterial, it was in the hands of Linda Moulton Howe, Art Bell, Art's Parts, as it were called. We'll get into some of that tonight. And then somehow Linda Moulton Howe sells this piece, the magnesium bismuth. You guys remember this? That they said it would broke off a UFO at Roswell. Anyway, Linda Moulton Howe sells this to the Stars Academy, who then partners with a CRADA with the government. It's we'll talk about it in a little bit. But okay, so now it's in the hands of Tom DeLonge and his crew, and they're partnering with the government. Now, this always sat pretty poorly with me for a number of reasons, right? I hate to call people liars, right? I hate to say that everything is misinformation and propaganda and all the rest of this, but I think you have to be a little bit suspicious when you're thinking of UFOs, all right? Flying saucers, metamaterial, pieces that broke off of the Roswell crash, all right? But that's what we're talking about tonight. That's exactly what's at the heart of this article. So let's read just a little bit more, and then we'll keep on trucking. By the way, we are live. One more time, if you want to be part of the show tonight, love to have you on. Did you hear this news, this breaking news about the Pentagon admits carrying out tests, and let's see, our headline is, Pentagon admits to carrying out tests on futuristic UFO debris, expert claims. Did you guys hear this? Did you guys hear this today? And if you did, where did you hear it? That's what I want to know. But okay, anyway, so we'll continue. That's what the news is tonight, and that's what we're talking about. But if you have heard of this, or if you're familiar with Art's Parts, or the Linda Moulton Howe story, or the magnesium and bismuth piece, or any of this stuff, I'd love to hear from you tonight. What do you think of this? Is it should we be suspicious of this, or do you think the horse is out of the barn, and that we've already had disclosure like we've talked about on this show? It's already come and gone, and this is just news, just news that's clickbait, let's say. It's just more UFO clickbait. I don't know. I don't know the answers to those things. I'm asking you. If what do you think about this? Have you heard of this? And do you think that this is too little, too late, or is this something that's going to bring in actual disclosure? Looking to hear from you. 702-957-1037. One more time. That's 702-957-1037. You could also join the Discord. TroubledMinds.org is the official website. Got the phone number there and the Discord link, so you don't have to write anything down. You just remember one place, TroubledMinds.org. You got links to everything and the phone number and everything else. So anyway, all right, let's continue with this article and keep on trucking. Let's keep on trucking with this. Okay, so writing online, Mr. Bragalia said, now officially referred to as UAP rather than UFOs. I already read this. Some of this material was placed with a defense contractor for analysis and storage in specialized facilities. This continues. Incredibly, part of the information released discusses material with shape recovery properties, much like the memory metal debris found fallen at the Roswell UFO crash in 1947. He added, although much of the report's details are redacted, what can be gleaned is that these technologies represent a literal quantum leap beyond the properties of all existing material known to man. Yeah, he said it. He said it. This is what we're talking about tonight, guys. Talking about metamaterial that dates back to Roswell, and it's back in the news because this individual by the name of, what is his name? Anthony Bragalia. He filed a FOIA request, and he's claiming that the government has admitted to not only having these metamaterials that were picked off of UFOs, that they've done tests on these things. So we'll continue with this article as we keep on trucking here. But that's what's on deck tonight. That's what we're talking about. As always, lots to talk about, lots to think about. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it, for one. And two, did I mention we do this live? And I'd love to hear what you guys think about this conversation, about the information that may be clunked out today, and the news cycles. Do you think a lot of this is clickbait? Do you think that, again, like the horse is out of the barn and disclosure came and went? And we're just here kind of shrugging our shoulders with the tabloids trying to collect as much clickbait as possible. I don't know. Like a lot of this bothers me in a lot of ways because of the way it's covered, because of the way it's covered up, and because of the way the media treats it. But we can do our own thing. We don't have to go and follow the media. We can talk about this a little bit in depth and really discuss what's happening here. So that's what's on deck tonight. We're talking about these metamaterials that are back in the news from Roswell. Back in the news. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you end up listening to the Fringe FM and Troubled Minds talking about UFOs. And hopefully that's part of the win. But okay. All right. So as we finish this up, remember, this is live, and I'd love to hear from you guys tonight. So if you're out there listening, I'm here talking. And we're doing UFOs. We're doing Linda Moulton Howe. We're talking about Roswell and the memory metal that came off of that UFO. Oh boy, I tell you what, too much fun. You want to be part of the conversation tonight? 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. My name is Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. Hang tight, and we will be right back to talk about more UFOs, more metamaterials, and how this is hitting the news cycle again today. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. Broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And tonight we're talking about metamaterials. For some reason, again, they're back in the news. That's right. Alien alloys. That's what's on deck. And if you've been paying attention, there's a new FOIA release that came out today that supposedly corroborates. That is a very loud chunk of music. But so that supposedly corroborates all of the things from the old days, from the Roswell days, okay? And as somebody said in the chat, we were reading and catching up on the chat during the break there. But like how does this happen basically? I guess how do we find ourselves here? Once again, if you go back the last couple years, let's say 3 years now to be about precise, that we had the government admits that UFOs are real, right? The Navy admits, then that the Pentagon comes out and says yes, those Tic Tac videos are real. And, Tom DeLonge's involved and Lou Elizondo and all these people, right? It's been a really weird few years for ufology. And, that's okay. Weird is fine, right? That's part of the game. I'm not really concerned about that. But just the information we get that's real or not real. And I don't know. That's part of the conversation. Which part is real? Which part is clickbait? Which part is misinformation? And, is any of this real? I think that's the thing that bothers me the most with all of this, is that you never know. You just never can tell if any of this stuff is real. So let's continue. This is from the dailystar.co.uk. Again, I'm going to link this in the chat just in case you guys want to catch up to what we're talking about. If you're just showing up, we are talking about metamaterials. We're talking about, again, this Linda Moulton Howe, Arts Parts, this whole bit is back in the news one more time because this Mr. Bragalia filed a FOIA in 2017, December of 2017, and supposedly he just got this FOIA back recently, and so it's going to dominate the news cycle in the next week. You'll see, it's just right now hitting the news wires, so we're ahead of the game as usual. But what does that mean? Just because it hits the news wires and the mainstream picks it up doesn't make it real, does it? Yeah, of course not. Of course not. So that's why we're talking about it. Here we go. So again, from my favorite, I guess there's too many. So one of my favorite tabloids, the dailystar.co.uk, reports this. So, okay. Mr. Bragalia claimed the information provided in the FOIA response seems to represent reports that are directly relevant to what was learned from the study of the UFO debris and how insight gained from those studies might be applied in the future, but does not include a detailing of the debris, the found debris itself. Disappointingly, the reports do not include much of what was requested, such as a physical description and the composition of the material, the origin of the material, and the names of the involved scientists. That remains classified. And it continues, and this is a quote from Mr. Bragalia and his website, which we'll get to in a little bit. But technical pursuit areas derived from the study of those materials, i.e. invisibility, energy concentration, light speed control, intelligent metal, were in part released. All right, well, okay. So they say, and again, this is the actual source of this, if you guys want a very in-depth read about where this information is coming from. Linking it in the chat. Again, it's from UFO Explorations, Anthony Bragalia, Bragalia. And you can check it out there. Let's see, make sure we get it in all the chats. Did I mention we're streaming live on Facebook? We're streaming live on YouTube, and we'd love to include you. Have you heard about this? And if you have, what do you think this is? More disclosure, more disinformation, more clickbait, somewhere in between? I don't know. You tell me. 702-957-1037. One more time. That's 702-957-1037. And that's just what we're talking about. We're just kind of kicking it amongst our friends, talking about UFOs. That's just kind of what we do on this show. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, and you can find both the phone number and the Discord at troubledminds.org, and we'll put you on the show. Simple as that. But okay, so back to this one where we started here with the tabloid. So the released documents. Okay, I already read this. Let's see. Recent experiment. Okay, so the released documents help to inform us of the potential applications of the materials, but do not offer deep insight into precisely what the debris is made of. They speak of recent experiments that provide new concepts and of theoretical developments that might result in new materials. Mr. Bragalia went on to say how more than 40 witnesses mentioned a metal-like material that could remember itself following the Roswell crash. It would return to its original state instantly after being folded or deformed. He added, quote, "The DIA believes it is being responsive to the FOIA request by acknowledging UFO debris, its storage by Bigelow, and by identifying areas of future applications of these materials without having to actually name responsible parties, of what elements the material is comprised, how it is processed, etc." And of course, perfect timing. The phone line dies. That's all right. We'll get it back up. Okay, so that's what's going on, and that's what we're talking about tonight. And it's weird, again, that this exact same material ends up back in the news. I mean, this is exactly the same thing, right? You guys remember Art's Parts, right? You guys remember that? With so supposedly in the 90s, all right, somebody actually snail mailed the old school way, right? They mailed these metamaterials, these parts of supposed UFOs, to none other than Art Bell. Now, if you like this type of radio and the Fringe FM and things like this, of course, you know who Art Bell is. He's the godfather of paranormal radio. He's the greatest ever. Okay, but as a result of this, clearly he gets people interested. And the interested parties sent him these metamaterials in the mail back in the 90s. And they've been affectionately dubbed Art's Parts. Art's Parts, all right? So what is that all about? Now, again, it's back in the thing. Back in the news cycle. So, yeah. So going over to the UFO explorations here, and Anthony Bragalia, you can see he's got a right on the front page. He's actually got like some photographs of what appear to be some sort of material that bends, right? It's a bendable type material, and like, what's going on with this? I don't really know. Well, I kind of do, because this is not the actual material. It's just a photo that's been circulated for years. But anyway, I digress. Okay, so all of this, hold on. So now let's take this back. Let's take this back just a little bit. Everybody remember just a couple years ago when all this started, all the hoopla, like when he actually filed this FOIA request, okay? He actually was inspired, I think. Like I said, I'm surmising, but I think he was inspired by this Tom DeLonge mania that happened in 2017, December of 2017. But here we go. Let's go back to the news and what happened just in the last couple of years regarding these very same metamaterials that supposedly have come from Roswell, New Mexico. Let's play a couple clips here, and we'll keep on trucking. If you want to be part of the show, talking about UFOs tonight, talking about Art's Parts, talking about the debris from Roswell and how it's back in the news. So here we go. Part one, going back a couple years in time to look at what they were saying about this in 2018.
A global scramble is underway to identify and perhaps replicate unidentified mystery material that's been collected at multiple sites around the world.
A few of the samples have defied analysis by leading scientists who say they don't know how the material was engineered or why or by whom.
Now, some of this metamaterial was allegedly collected in connection with UFO incidents, which gives the whole endeavor another worldly glow. The I-Team's George Knapp has the story and the Las Vegas connection.
For years, the Pentagon secretly studied the seemingly impossible abilities of unknown craft captured in these military videos. Scientists now want to know if the materials used in these mystery aircraft allow them to do what they do. For years, one of the secret studies was carried out by BASS, a Las Vegas operation hidden within Bigelow Aerospace. Documents first reported by the I-Team show that BASS landed a contract with the DIA, and one of the objectives was to study study so-called metamaterials as well as futuristic technologies.
It was a multi-layered bismuth and magnesium sample. Bismuth layers less than a human hair. Magnesium samples about 10 times the size of a human hair. Supposedly picked up in the crash retrieval of an advanced aerospace vehicle. Looks like it's been in a crash.
In Las Vegas back in June, physicist Hal Puthoff came pretty close to saying that this weird wedge of metamaterial came from a crashed saucer, but he can't know for sure. Puthoff and his colleague Dr. Eric Davis are on the cutting edge of attempts to identify an assortment of bits and pieces that are seemingly beyond anything we can create.
Okay, right? This was just a couple years ago. So again, right, we're talking about the same metamaterial that was mailed to Art Bell in the 90s, that passed on to Linda Moulton Howe, that she sold to TTSA, and now somehow, some way, now we have this back in the news cycle again. Now, do you guys think this stuff is real, the actual arts parts? Do you think that it is a piece recovered from a crashed flying saucer, as they say? Or do you think this is, again, some kind of, maybe misidentification of something, or a tall tale kind of wrapped in a mythology? Who knows? Again, right? Like there's no way to verify this, because if there's actually information regarding this, the government's not going to tell us. I mean, so first off, the fact that this is a FOIA request and we think we're getting this out of it is kind of a little disturbing. So let's go to Twitter real quick. Now, this is from Dr. Peter Venkman, right? I am Dr. Venkman, which of course is Ghostbusters, but this is an individual on Twitter. And, no offense, I'm just going to read what this individual said. Today, February 9th, 2021, the United States government, in a FOIA response, admitted to having physical material from unidentified aerial phenomena. This admission is one of the biggest revelations in human history. Unfortunately, nobody gives a crap outside of #UFO Twitter. I don't know. We're outside of it, and we give a crap, don't we? But I think again, right? Like it's not as cut and dry as this. It never is it? Where you can just say that, we have a response here, a FOIA response from the government, and you snap your fingers and bam, aliens. Nah, there's always a deeper story, right? There's always a deeper story than that. It can't be as simple as that. They wouldn't allow it to be as simple as that. Okay, so anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight. And again, what do you guys think? Do you think this stuff is real? And do you think a FOIA from the government is the way disclosure is going to happen? And this Anthony Bragalia guy, do you think that he, in his website, the UFO explorations is the way of it? Or do you think that, again, maybe we have some misinterpreted data, or maybe read the FOIA incorrectly, which actually we have some clips from John Greenwald Jr. of the Black Vault, which we'll play in a little while, where he's kind of weighed in on this and what the FOIA actually means regarding this information, what he thinks it means, okay? So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot here. Again, as always, a lot to think about, a lot to talk about. Do you guys think this stuff is real, the arts parts? Is it weird to you that they're back in the news again after all these years again? Yeah, 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Mike. Give me a call. Let me know what you think about this, and we will continue. So here we go. Now, here's part 2 of that same clip, again, from a couple years ago. This was from 2018. All right. And so they're talking about these metamaterials as they surface, and they're, again, back in the news in 2018. And here we are, 2021, the early part, and they're back in the news again. So here we go. Let's play part 2 of that news report that we started there.
This one sample is engineered in layers thinner than microns through a process unknown on Earth, and for a purpose we can only guess.
Nowhere could we find any evidence that anybody ever made one of these. When we talked to people who, in the materials field, who should know, they said, we don't know why anybody would want to make anything like this.
Astrophysicist Dr. Jacques Vallée has been analyzing mystery metals since the 80s, often using the technical expertise of Stanford University and Silicon Valley to unravel unknown samples acquired from all over the world. Vallée pointedly steers clear of any military funding, and he shared his findings at public conferences.
We have multiple samples now from multiple sources, ranging a wide variety of integrity.
These days, former intelligence officer Lou Elizondo helps to collect and protect unknown chunks for the To the Stars Academy. Before that, he ran ATIP, the Pentagon's secret UFO study, the same one which released the now famous videos. This summer, To the Stars launched Adam, its own effort to find and study pieces of material that may have been stashed away for decades after being retrieved from the sites of close encounters. Elizondo says there are legitimate reasons why the military and now private groups are in a race to figure out these materials.
What our internal efforts are to potentially, I'm not saying we're doing this, maybe replicate that technology or to reverse engineer that technology, right? Now you're getting into some sensitivities that you don't necessarily want everybody to be privy to.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
By the way, when the New York Times broke its story last year about the Pentagon's UFO study, it reported that a sample of mystery material was secretly stored at Bigelow Aerospace. Managers of that program told the I-Team that while they're familiar with some of the metamaterial samples, none were ever stashed here in Las Vegas.
Okay, right? It's as simple as that. You get a press release from Bigelow Aerospace and they say, nah, we don't have any UFO material. You got the wrong guys. That's not us. That's a different warehouse in Las Vegas that was reported. You don't believe me? Hold on. Right here. This is from TexasUFOsightings.com from 2017. Headline is this: Robert Bigelow stored UFO materials in Las Vegas buildings. New York Times reports. Yeah, in an astonishing article published in the New York Times today, and this is again December 16th, 2017, right around the same time these FOIAs were filed by this Anthony Bragalia guy, okay? So, it's been revealed that the Pentagon secretly investigated the UFO phenomenon from 2007 to 2011, spending black budget money that primarily went to American businessman Robert Bigelow's company, Bigelow Aerospace, for research and resources. The top secret government program collected evidence of UFOs, including video and audio recordings, and also, quote, studied people who said they had experienced physical effects from encounters with the objects and examined them for any physiological changes. There you go. I'll link this. Again, there's been a ton of reporting about this, about Bigelow and storing metamaterials in Las Vegas and some nondescript warehouse, like, much like you would find in Indiana Jones or something like this, where they stored the Lost Ark. You guys, I know everybody's seen that at the very end. But what is going on here? Like, again, right back in the news cycle, right back talking about the same things that have been talked about for years and years and years, and not even really verified these things. Again, right? I don't know. I don't know. Like, it just becomes frustrating when you see this again and again and again. That here we are again. Here we are again, talking about it again and again. All right. So anyway, basically, this is the deal. Okay, we had Art's parts again mailed in 1990 to Art Bell, passed on to Linda Moulton Howe. Art Bell has now passed away, so these parts were passed on to Linda Moulton Howe, sold them to TTSA, which partnered with the U.S. Army to study these metamaterials and turn them into weapons or something, right? There's some actual science behind some of this stuff, which we'll get to in a little bit here. But I mean, I don't know. Again, everything is kind of traced back to UFOs. Everything is these same parts that have been talked about forever. I mean, okay, now just think about it this way. And this is why I'm frustrated with this, and why I'm frustrated with a lot of the way the media reports. And just like I always said, it's clickbait. It's squeezing every bit of ad revenue out of every story you can put up. And the thing that frustrates me about it is that if there's one crash, all right, let's say Roswell, there's just one, right? Then it stands to reason there's more. You know what I mean? That's not going to be an isolated thing, right? Like completely isolated. So why are we still trying to find or get to the bottom of these Art's parts and the magnesium bismuth and the rest of this, when shouldn't there be a ton of things out there, a ton of information? And this kind of gets at the argument that I have always had against To the Stars Academy and Tom DeLonge and all that. It's been 3 years or going on 4 years now that they've got 3 crappy videos. That's kind of all we've seen from them. And so hey, if there's 3, there's got to be 30. If there's 30, there's got to be 300. If there's 300, there's got to be terabytes of this stuff. Let's see it. Come on now. We have government insiders that are supposedly handling these things and getting this information out, and we're not seeing any of it, right? It's got to be everywhere. It's got to be everywhere, right? Okay. Anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight. The FOIA request has put these arts parts, the supposed pieces of UFOs back in the news, and here we are talking about it again. You want to be part of the show tonight? 702-957-1037. Love to hear your thoughts on this, and do you think these parts are real? Do you think they actually came from Roswell? Do you think that this spongy metallic stuff that actually has a name, by the way, which we'll get to after the break here, but is it real? Is it something that we've reverse engineered, so to speak, right? For like Bob Lazar might say. I think that's part of the issue here. How much of this is real? I don't know. It just feels to me like more clickbait. But I don't know. Again, I'm one dude. I don't know. I don't have the answers to these things. And if I did, like I said, it would be an awfully short show because I'd just read the answers and then the show would be over. And that would be no fun, wouldn't it? That would be no fun at all. So instead, we ask questions, and that's what we're here doing tonight. Talking about arts parts, 1990s, UFO crash retrieval, metamaterials, actually mailed to Art Bell, and then ended up in the hands of Linda Moulton Howe, and then ended up selling those. She ended up selling those to Tom DeLonge and TTSA, which partnered with the government. Now, a couple things about that. The thing that makes me suspicious is, specifically about all of this, I mean, in these parts, so if they partnered with the government because they had this magnesium bismuth piece, and supposedly it came from the crash in Roswell, if Roswell happened the way they said it happened, the way the mythology says it happened, that means the government has the rest of that craft somewhere, right? So why on God's green earth would they want this little piece? Why do they need it? Just kind of curious. Questions that trouble my mind. Do they trouble yours? Yeah. I don't know. Again, I don't know the answers to these things, but they do get me concerned, let's say. I think concern's a good way to put it. But yeah. So tonight we're talking about the FOIA request that put arts parts back in the news. Metamaterials taken off crashed UFOs. It seems ridiculous, doesn't it? Or does it? I think that's the question. And that's why we do it. That's why we talk about these things. That's why we think about these things. You want to be part of the show tonight? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You're listening to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Hang tight. We'll be back with more UFOs, more metamaterials, and maybe get to the bottom of this. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. This is Michael Strange from Troubled Minds. Did you hear that scientists recently discovered radio waves coming from Proxima Centauri? Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. We are broadcasting from that neck of the woods. You are listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM.
Development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know whether rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be in airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it pose a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please, please help!
Aliens won't let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. This show's about all the things we're not allowed to talk about, and one of those is alien metamaterials. And that's what we're doing tonight. We're back in the news. A FOIA request filed in 2017 to the DIA asked about the physical descriptions, properties, and composition of UFO and UAP material held by the government and its contractors. This request is unambiguous in its meaning. It refers to UFO, UAP material and physical debris recovered by personnel of the Department of Defense as residue, flotsam, shot-off material, or crashed UAPs, or unidentified flying objects. And the FOIA request actually can be found right here. I'm going to have a link for it. You guys can check this out. And I do enjoy sources, so you guys can check this out and read the FOIA for yourself to see that I'm not making these things up, because that's important to me. I do a fair share of maybe speculating, but most of the things that I always talk about on this show are sourced, and this is one of those sources. So this is the actual FOIA request, which we can look at some of the dates and some of this. Linking this in the chat if you guys want to be on top of this game. Here's where I'm getting this information. But by the way, so speaking of chat, we are streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live on Facebook. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. That's KTLK Digital Broadcasting, and we're talking about all the things that we're not allowed to talk about, of course. Which alien metamaterials. I think that qualifies. I think that definitely qualifies. But here we go. Link in the actual FOIA in the chat if you guys want to check this out and see where I'm getting this information from. And so, again, this is from Anthony Bragalia. He filed this FOIA December 26, 2017, and he was looking for the information regarding... actually, let's read just some of the FOIA so you guys know exactly what he was looking for. So, requester asks to be provided with an inventory list and all associated documentation of said material. Such documentation will include 1. A physical description of all held material. 2. Source of origin of all held material. And we're talking about crash retrievals and metamaterial from flying saucers, supposedly. So 3. Circumstance and method of obtainment of all held material. Again, flotsam, residue, shot-off material, crash material, etc. Number 4, custodian U.S. government agency of all held material. So who's actually got them currently? Number 5, the titles and authors of all technical and analytical reports conducted on all held material. All right. And that's what this guy's claiming. He's saying that they answered him and he got some of this information. So we'll look at his website here and get to the bottom of that in a sec. So number 6, names of private contractors to the U.S. government engaged in the storage and study of all held material, which of course you would expect to be Robert Bigelow, right? Bigelow Aerospace, anyway, among others, possibly. But yeah, so he was very much digging for this Bigelow stuff. Number 7, test results on UAP recovered material to include physical properties, chemical and elemental composition of material, and determination of the material as of terrestrial or extraterrestrial origin. And that's the FOIA request right here. So again, right there in black and white, filed and received December 27th, 2017. So that's what spawns the conversation tonight. This is back in the news because supposedly he received a response, and he's saying that they ended up having information about this. So let's see. Let's go to here. Okay, so now just regarding Art's parts, let's just go back a little ways and listen to this and where these things came from. Okay, like I was trying to explain. There's somebody that explains it better than me.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Alien Protocols, the Advanced Protocols Data Project. You guys may, if you look very carefully at this piece, it may look a little familiar to you. That shape right there. Doesn't it? This is the famous Linda Moulton Howe piece, known as the Art's Parts piece. Very famous piece of the UFO. There's the dark side and the shiny side. And these are some unique photos that just went out yesterday into the public domain. No other show has covered this so far, so you guys are seeing this first. These are some of the first nanoscans of this stuff that have not out in the public yet, but they're here for the first time. And here's some of the info on it. It goes alternate layers of bismuth and magnesium, and there's the shiny side and the dark side. This is the extrasolar sample that has been under scrutiny since 1996, known as Art's Parts. This was first studied by Dr. Eric Hari of Carnegie Science, and it has these layers of bismuth and magnesium zinc. And they know that it is a waveguide for a certain series of terahertz. And this is some revolutionary material. This metamaterial provides anti-gravity and invisibility and all of these different functions. And you have to wonder, why would the most valuable material on the planet be allowed to be in TTSA's hands? Why would they be allowed to even have it? How come the government hasn't confiscated it for national security reasons?
Oh, that's a heck of a question, isn't it? Like I said, why do they even want it? If they've got the entire Roswell flying saucer, quote, whatever you want to call it, alien craft, whatever it is, what term you want to use. If they've got all of it, why do they want this little piece? It doesn't make any sense, does it? I don't think so. Okay, so, and you hear what he said, right? It's there's been talk that you can blast this with a particular terahertz of radiation or energy, or I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not the guy to ask about those things. But there's been speculation, and even people in the know, Dr. Hal Puthoff, I believe, I don't know if he's made these statements in general, but he's linked to this story and has supposedly been able to examine this exact object that we're talking about here. And so it makes you wonder, right? Anti-gravity, invisibility, right? These sorts of things. Is this stuff even possible? Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. But okay, here we go. So now this is from UFOexplorations.com. And this is the individual named Eric. No, I'm sorry. I got this wrong. His name is Anthony Bragalia. All right. And so right here on his website, he says that these things, the information he got back from the FOIA implies heavily these things. Extensive reference is also made to the study and application of what the tests called metamaterial, including that some of this material, number one, can be used to slow down light and even bring light to a complete standstill, implying the ability to manipulate the speed of light, electromagnetic energy traveling at 186,000 miles per second. All right, that's the number one. And it does. It kind of fits with what this other stuff was, right? It fits. It fits a little bit. What has been claimed about these things. So he's saying that this came back in the FOIA. All right. So anyway, number two, this material may induce invisibility by manipulating refraction, reflectivity, and increasing light absorption. The reports use terms like optical isolation and transparency and make reference to a meta-mirror technology, implying the ability to make something unable to be seen and or picked up by radar, scanning, or imaging. All right, right here. I got it linked. I'm again reading this from somewhere else. This is not me making this up. Number three. Now these materials again have the interesting ability to compress electromagnetic energy, and such condensing can make information and energy storage smaller and their transfer faster by reducing volume. And that's been said. I think that's how you. Tom DeLonge has claimed actually that that particular piece, the bismuth, magnesium, Linda Moulton Howe thing, the arts parts, that particular piece, if you blasted it with terahertz technology, and he said this on the Joe Rogan podcast, that it would lose mass. It would actually lose mass, and as a result of this, you could the propulsion, of course, would be greater because propelling less mass means more propulsion and less actual physical fuel needed to make that happen. All right, so then this continues again. So again, right on UFOexplorations.com, and this is an individual that filed a FOIA report named Anthony Bragalia. All right, and he's saying the Pentagon admits it has UFO debris, releases test results, and so there we go. Part 4. Now these materials exhibit a particular tunable resonance, which was likely determined during fabrication. Okay, the phrase tunable resonance refers to a vibration of large amplitude from a small stimulus. Very recent research shows potential in the field of energy harvesting technologies or pulling energy from the environment for low power electronic devices. Okay, so that's what this guy's saying, and he's saying that a lot of these things are from the government. The government is confirming a lot of these things, and like I said, this has been speculated by many. Again, by Tom DeLonge right there on the Joe Rogan podcast. He was talking about this and how this particular piece, this arts part, the metamaterial, the bismuth magnesium slice that supposedly came off of the Roswell flying saucer, was able you blast it with some sort of terahertz energy, and it was able to decrease its mass, and then somehow not just they're implying here that it can cloak with invisibility, and then also that it can what was it? So levitate. So reduce mass, levitate, and they're claiming here some sort of invisibility manipulation of this. Anyway, like I said, I don't know. Clearly, I've never touched this piece. I've seen a lot of talk about it. Like Linda Moulton Howe did a fantastic 7-page write-up on the entire history of this piece on, I think it's Earth Files. I think it's her website, right? So I did a show on it and talked about it, and she left it outside of her paywall intentionally so people could go check it out and see what's going on with this and find the actual where it came from and the tests they did. And supposedly this particular piece we're talking about, the bismuth magnesium slice that supposedly came off the Roswell UFO. Now this piece supposedly has been through the hands of numerous scientists. All right, like numerous scientists, and so at some point you would expect that that maybe some of this could be actually verified, right? And scientific papers put out. I haven't seen any. I mean, if I'm missing them, sure, let me know. I'd love to see them, but I haven't seen any actual verification of these things. So anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight: UFOs, arts parts, bismuth magnesium. metamaterials, and this individual that has a website called UFOexplorations.com. And his name is Anthony Bragalia. And he supposedly filed a FOIA request that he says they've verified all of these things. And I'm not so sure that's the case. Not so sure. Let's go to Arts Parts Part 2. Before we do that, actually, what do you guys think about this? Is this brand new? Is this so rehashed about the same stuff from the past that you're not even interested? Like I think that's part of the danger with this stuff is you end up in these circles of information where the thing just these things keep regurgitating, right? Without new documentation. I mean, they're saying there's some documentation here, which again has been refuted by a FOIA expert, which we'll get to in a little bit. But what does this even mean? Like we have the same thing, 1996. Yeah, Arts Parts. If you want to be part of the show, what do you think about this? 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. You can join the Discord, troubleminds.org. Join the other Discord, please, fringe.fm/chat. Lots of smart, intelligent people in both sharing fantastic ideas and fantastic links. And yeah, come join us. Come say hi. But now again, right? So what does this all mean? What does all this mean? Let's go part 2, Arts Parts, and we'll continue talking about this.
When this stuff is weaponized, they're going to have weightless, invisible, hypersonic weapons. Unless the government has a lot more of this stuff. Think about it, gang. Just be logical. They wouldn't let them have it if they didn't have more. And by making it seem like a civilian agency is asking for the public's parts, the public's UFO pieces, rather than the government, more people would be willing to give it to a civilian agency. But as much as I love and respect To the Stars and what they've done already by getting out those videos, and how much I respect to Luis Elizondo and Chris Mellon and Hal and all the people involved, they keep pitching the evil alien threat thing. And time after time, case after case, their actions speak louder than words. You want to be judged by your actions and not by words, and they should be judged by their actions and not by words. And they are not a threat. Time and time again, they have proved that. The famous Peru case where the jet fighter unloaded his machine guns and tried to lock missiles and couldn't. The famous Iran case with General Jafari when he tried to lock on his weapon systems and the peaceful craft decided to shut off the weapon systems only. Not the aeronautics, not kill them for trying to attack first. The same thing in Belgium, the same thing in the Nimitz case, and numerous other cases that haven't come out yet. So, it's important to characterize the visitors as they are. If an advanced civilization is visiting you, it's probably for a really good reason. And maybe we should communicate rather than confront.
I think he's got some fantastic points in there. And, maybe. I also was irritated by their threat narrative with TTSA and all the rest of that. But anyway, that's not really what we're talking about tonight. But you see, so now we have this metamaterial that supposedly is able to become invisible. If it's blasted with a particular terahertz energy or frequency, they say, that it will actually lose mass and be able to levitate. You see, like there's some stuff here that should be verifiable. And if this stuff is so top secret, how the hell are we even hearing about it? That's what I want to know. Now, before we get into John Greenwald Jr. and some of the things he said today about this in particular, and he did. He's addressed this because he's basically a FOIA expert, right? John Greenwald Jr. of theblackvault.com. He's fantastic. The dude is great. My opinion, doing God's work. He's out there not only documenting all the things he can get from the government through the FOIA process, he's doing things like looking at this in particular and actually wondering where this information came from and whether it's legitimate or not. and kind of giving the public an actual sounding board, an expert to be able to fact check this guy, this Anthony Bragalia guy. What's his name again? I keep forgetting his name. His name is Anthony Bragalia. There you go. So I don't know. Again, right? Interesting stuff. Lots to talk about. Lots to think about, as always, which is why we're doing it. You want to be part of the show tonight? We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on the Fringe FM, and we're talking alien metamaterials. We're talking about some things that are, what would you say? Exotic. Exotic is a good word. And not only that, they're supposedly able to do all these amazing things, these alien metamaterials. So I don't know. This FOIA request, the guy claims to have proof that the government admits these things. I'm not so sure that's the case, but again, right, it doesn't matter because the alien agenda, it is what it is. I don't, like I've said before, I don't presume to know the agenda of aliens. I mean, right? Right. So there's that. But then there's also the government hand in this, whether they're releasing this intentionally, whether this was misread. I don't know. There's a lot here, a lot to think about, a lot to talk about. That's what we're talking about tonight. You want to be part of this? We got another segment after the break here. Still looking to hear from you. 702-957-1037. Do you think these arts parts, the Linda Moulton Howe metamaterials that have gone through the hands of many scientists over the years and have yet to be verified as far as I'm aware, do you think these things are real, or do you think it's some sort of a bad UFO trope from the days of Roswell in 1947 that just continues to be regurgitated for a clickbait, for whatever it is, right? Again, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I can't even tell you what a terahertz is, right? But I do know that I haven't seen anything levitate outside of gravity. If anybody has, love to hear from you. 702-957-1037. And just hanging out, talking about UFOs. It's what we do. It's what we do. And among other things. But tonight, it's UFOs. It's UFOs. All the great chat. I see you guys. We'll catch up with chat in just a sec here. But okay. So that's what's on deck tonight. We got one more segment. We're going to get into a little bit of what John Greenwald Jr. said. And he's a FOIA expert, okay? He's been filing FOIAs for most of his life. And he can kind of maybe break down some of this and get to the bottom of what's actually happening. And I think that's valuable. I think that's a valuable thing. And not only that, we're also going to look at if these things are possible. These cloaking technologies, they say, and some of this other stuff. There's scientists out there working on them. So I looked into that a little bit, and we'll play that and look into some of those things right after we take a quick break. But as of right now, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You want to be part of the show? Give me a call. We'll put you on. Join the Discord, troubledminds.org. You are listening to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And we're talking UFOs, metamaterials, Al Puthoff, Linda Moulton Howe, Tom DeLonge, all the crazy things. Does any of this even make sense anymore? Love to hear from you. Hang tight. Going to get into some of the science of this and what John Greenwald Jr. has said about this tonight. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The truth is out there, and so are we. KTLK, Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're talking about metamaterials retrieved off of crashed UFOs tonight. These are old stories, and somehow they find their way back in the news over and over and over again. But if we're not talking about it, who is? Somebody's got to. You want to be part of the show tonight? Streaming live on Facebook, streaming live on YouTube. Broadcasting on the Fringe FM. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. As always, the bigger questions. What does all this mean? What does all this mean? Are there actual crashes, UFO crashes, as Bigelow has professed? We talked about it last week on the Bigelow show, where he actually had an interview with George Knapp, and he said he is convinced that there are not just one UFO crash, there are many. And he is convinced that people are being abducted and having actual visitations or confrontations or whatever term you want to use with actual extraterrestrials. So there's some people out there that would have you believe they are experts. They are in the know. And I guess, if anybody, you could call Robert Bigelow that for sure. But what does it mean for us? I think Stephen Bassett has called it the truth embargo. The government not giving us the information we desire regarding UFOs. Well, that leaves us here, shrugging our shoulders, wondering what the heck is really going on. And so we do. That's what we do. And again, if you want to be part of the show, I'd love to hear what you think about these metamaterials and some of the things they can or cannot do. Got a couple clips I'll play regarding that. But 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. We'll put you on the show. We will put you on the show. All right, so let's go. Now, I looked into the science of some of this. All right. Now, can this stuff happen? Can you really have a metamaterial that can be manipulated in these ways to create cloaking technology or levitation or things like this? Let's find out.
Metamaterials are subwavelength structured, artificially engineered materials. Generally, metamaterials have had fixed properties. So their properties are dictated by their geometry. So once you fabricate the metamaterial, its properties are fixed. Here we'll be developing tunable or metamaterials that you can temporally modulate or change their properties as a function of time.
This is a structure that we're currently working on. It has time-modulated reflection phase for both polarization and for all the columns that can be biased individually. The metasurface incorporates tunable devices like Varactor diodes to provide the phase tunability. By using this structure, we can actually achieve full dynamic waveform control, including the beam steering, polarization control, and frequency conversion.
Prior to modulation, the surface appears totally transparent, and the input frequency is seen at the output. Now, when we apply a time-varying bias, the object, which is truly stationary, seems to exhibit a Doppler shift. I've really enjoyed working on this project over the past year because it's allowed me to explore some rather counterintuitive phenomenon. Things like making an object appear like it's moving even though it's completely stationary. Turns out that a lot of the images that we can produce by texturing patterns in space can be done equally well by shaping pulses by tailoring a surface in time.
Currently, non-reciprocity in general in communication systems is achieved through magnet-based systems, which are very large and bulky. With the speed of electronics these days, we can modulate at the rate of the incoming signal now. And this has opened a broad range of opportunities for us, which will impact different areas, from wireless communications to remote sensing, radar, as well as beam steering technology. So antennas that can track the users, in the next 5G wireless systems.
Okay, did you catch it? I know there's a lot there, all right? This is a time-varying metamaterial, all right? They're able to put a... I don't even know, but okay, but it is a metamaterial. This is not something you find in nature. So they're creating these things in laboratories now, all right? And so what they were saying is you're able to put these time biases on these particular things. And again, words way bigger than my brain will ever comprehend. But he's saying that they're able to take a stationary object, apply this time-varying bias to this metamaterial, and make it appear like it's moving, even though it's stationary. And this is happening now in labs, and you can find this stuff all over YouTube. Just search metamaterial. And it's not the UFO stuff that they're talking about. These are other things that are being made in laboratories. Now, here's some other ones. Now, regarding that was creating something, taking a metamaterial and doing something to it so it appears like it's moving even though it's stationary. All right, there's one. Now, there's another one. There's another thing, and it's endless. Again, a metamaterial is something that is created outside of nature. Okay, we can create metamaterials because it just depends on your definition. Are these UFOs? Clearly not. Well, unless you believe Bob Lazar and think that a lot of this technology came from the reverse engineering of UFOs and these metamaterials. But there's more. Listen to this. Now this is actually regarding that cloaking device that this individual talked about. This in particular. These metamaterials may induce invisibility by manipulating refraction, reflectivity, and increasing light absorption. The reports use terms like optical isolation and transparency and make reference to meta-mirror technology. Here we go. Happening in labs around the world right now.
In 1967, a Russian physicist named Victor Veselago proposed a way to bend light and electromagnetism backwards. 33 years later, at Duke University, that idea became an invisibility cloak of sorts that launched a new technology called metamaterials, which promises to revolutionize communications and many other fields.
There are no materials which do this in nature, and that is, you have to have a material which, when light enters it, it bends the wrong way.
And somewhere along the way, John decided, hey, we can make an invisibility cloak out of this. Even partially as a joke, I think, but the math held up, and you could write down the prescription for a cloak, and it was fairly simple.
And pretty soon the phone lines were hot, and David said, "We're going to build this stuff."
Once it was demonstrated we could make something that really didn't exist in nature before, it kind of took off, but people really didn't know what to make of it at first.
If you ask different people, you'll probably get different definitions of the term metamaterial.
Okay, so I guess if you ask Bob Lazar, you'll get a different definition, or if you ask Lou Elizondo or Hal Puthoff, you'll get a different definition. But so they're actually doing these things where they're creating these metamaterials in laboratories now that are bending light. They're able to somehow turn into these cloaking technologies. So now, right, given that we know that this stuff is happening in labs all over the place, and they're testing these things, what exactly is going on? Now, is that metamaterial something that we've had, or something we got from this UFO, as they say, or is this something that we created ourselves? I don't know. Lots of questions here. Again, right? Love to have a scientist on, if you guys know what you're talking about. And because clearly I don't, but I think this stuff is fascinating. They talk about bending light. I'm just talking about bending my brain. So here we go, part 2.
But from my perspective, a metamaterial is a structure that is designed in order to control some form of wave propagation. That wave could be light, could be sound, could be radio waves, but the fundamental idea is that you design a structure, and that structure mimics natural materials and can then be used to control wave propagation.
It's very interesting that we don't think about how much of our communications is really now carried by waves. Things like cell phones, cellular communication, all the sorts of things that you might have for Wi-Fi, radar, millimeter wave imaging, things that you see in airports now. All of these devices, which have a very, very long history dating back to Maxwell and tons of research, all have new life in them because of metamaterials. Waves are a big part of our lives, and metamaterials really gives us a way to control those waves in ways that we haven't had before.
I thought, this has got to be wrong. And if I publish this, I'm going to be, condemned as something not worthy of being a scientist or something. And indeed I was, but it didn't turn out to be wrong.
Okay, there you go. Like the bias in science and all the rest of this. It's he's laughing there, but he's like, haha, I was right. this is possible. These metamaterials that bend light and can be the basis for some sort of cloaking technology. They already exist in labs. So again, take what we know about DARPA, the Defense Agency Research Projects, something like that. I forgot what the bit is there, but you know who they are, DARPA. They're supposedly 30, 40 years ahead of us, according to somebody like Annie Jacobson, who's done a lot of research on DARPA. Now, if that's the case, and they're talking about these things happening in laboratories now, what was DARPA doing in, I don't know, the 60s or the 70s or the 80s? Yeah. Again, right? Troubled minds indeed. Love to hear what you guys think about this stuff. 702-957-1037. You want to be part of the show? Put you right on the show. 702-957-1037. Join the Discord at troubledminds.org is the official website. You can click the Discord link and join there, or you can also find the phone number right there on the website. And by the way, the phone number is persistent. So if you want to leave a voicemail after the show, like you're listening on an archive or something, we'll play it on a future show. So we have time travel capability. If you want to leave a phone call, we will play it in the future. Okay, now let's get to John Greenwald Jr. Looking to hear from you guys, but we'll finish this up with what he had to say about this today. Now, again, John Greenwald Jr. is famous for running the blackvault.com. All right, the Black Vault, and let's see, I got some stuff from him up here. Let me pull it up, and we can take a look at this. But okay, so he in particular was talking about these. The CRADA, the metamaterials, like he's been all over this, and he's again an expert on the FOIA. Okay, and so here's his website just to make sure that I get proper credit out there where credit is due. Here you go. Here's where you find the individual doing great work. This guy, but here we go. All right, so he said he had this to say regarding these FOIAs that came out today, and there's more of this. There's a ton of this. He came out with a whole video. I encourage you to go check out his YouTube page, The Black Vault. Just search it right there on YouTube. I'll have the links attached to this after we're done tonight, and you can find all his entire video. I think he did like a whole 30-minute video today regarding this. But here, let's hear just a little bit of that and what he was talking about regarding this situation with the FOIA exchange from UFO explorations and this individual that goes by the name of Anthony Bragalia. I guess that's actually his name, but goes by the name, I guess, works as well. So here we go. John Greenwald, his take on this, part one.
Now, the headline itself is about the Pentagon admitting to having UFO debris. Now, the big question mark is, did they? What happened? Well, if you haven't seen this headline, that probably won't be surprising because, again, it hasn't wound up in the mainstream media, at least not yet, but has been making its rounds throughout multiple social media networks and forums. And at that time, I felt that it might be necessary to talk about this because this is something that is heavily talked about on this channel. Now, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, this is an article, a blog that had appeared, and this is kind of the root of this story. This is, if you have been seeing this story, this is what you're confronted with. Anthony Bragalia, and I apologize if I have that pronounced incorrectly, has this blog, has been writing for a long time from what I understand, and ran this headline here in the last day or so. Pentagon admits it has UFO debris, releases test results. And man, that sounds really cool, right? So I'm sure you're probably like the majority of us, me included, click on it and go, what the heck is this about? I haven't seen any Pentagon statements. Not that I'm always made aware of them, but my point is, if the Pentagon were to admit that they had UFO debris, my guess is I'd probably see it on a major media outlet very, very quickly. So I started reading through this and realized not only is, the majority of it entirely inaccurate, the root of it is a FOIA request, right up my alley. I love stuff like that. Yet it is wildly misinterpreted.
Okay. So we have the FOIA expert. He's looking at the FOIA documents that actually came out regarding this Anthony Bragalia and the UFOexplorations.com. And Pentagon admits it has UFO debris, releases test results. And now the FOIA expert, in which I don't think anybody can refute the fact that John Greenwald Jr. is a FOIA expert. Absolutely he is. Well, he doesn't read it this way. So is this again, right? Clickbait, twist, who knows? Part 2, John Greenwald Jr.
And that then paves the way for this inaccurate headline. And now it is starting to gain traction. And I think that this kind of stuff needs to be addressed. Now, I do want to dissect a couple parts of the article. I'll read some segments to you, show you a couple things, and really kind of explain what all this means and what the reality is behind it. And I want to start with the image that's at the top of the page here. Looks cool, very reminiscent of like a Roswell type memory medal. And I want to first start off with talking about what this means to the actual story. And that is absolutely nothing. This image has been around for years. I found a article with it back from 2013. It's just been floating around, a low resolution image, probably from a television show or something like that. And it's used to essentially entice you to click on the story. Now, I use stock photos all the time, so that shouldn't be, completely battered up. But I think that it is completely misleading when you run a headline like that and you put this image right there going, wow, is this part of the UFO debris? What is that? Well, sadly, it means absolutely nothing to the story. Now, I want to start off by just reading the top part of this article for you. I'm not going to dissect the entire thing, but I do feel that part of this is important to break down a little bit.
Okay, so like I said, there's an entire 30-minute video that John Greenwald Jr. did tonight. This debuted tonight. This is all hot breaking news. As this stuff starts to develop over the next several days, a week maybe, you're going to be able to say, hey, yeah, we talked about this way back on Tuesday with Michael Strange of Troubled Minds. Yeah, this is hot, brand new breaking news here. And so the thing is, though, John Greenwald Jr., reading the FOIA information and the requests and looking at this, he's saying, wait a minute, hold on here. Is this just another case of clickbait? And so, again, I'm not going to play too much from John Greenwald because, like I said, respect the man's work. He does a great amount of things for humanity, in my opinion, and he should be lauded as such. But he goes down and breaks down this entire article in pieces and talks about why they're saying some things that they shouldn't be saying, in his opinion, of course, because, of course, the individual, Anthony Bragalia, that wrote this article, he believes these things to be true. All right. So, of course, we have a difference of opinion. Nothing's new, especially in this day and age with the fake news and all the rest of this. But, the post-truth world, as they say. But what does this mean? Like, what the hell's going on? Is this truly phony? Is this somebody just kind of liberally interpreting a FOIA document and a response and then making up a bunch of stuff that really doesn't fly here? I don't know. Let's go one more, John Greenwald, and then we'll finish this up.
The article starts off like this. A stunning admission by the U.S. government that it possesses UFO debris was recently made in response to a Freedom of Information Act request filed over 3 years ago by this author. In a reply letter, the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, or DIA, has ended decades of speculation by verifying that UFO material has indeed been recovered. Now officially referred to as UAP, or unidentified aerial phenomena, rather than UFOs, this material, and again, that's an error in the article, I copy and pasted verbatim, this material was placed with a defense contractor for analysis and storage in specialized facilities. Incredibly, part of the information released discusses material with shape recovery properties, much like the memory metal debris found fallen at the Roswell UFO crash in 1947. Now, there's Roswell again being pulled in here. The author, Anthony Bragalia, he does go into a little bit more detail of why he's connecting Roswell. I am not going to, like I said, pick apart every little tidbit on this article. I'm only going to focus on the Freedom of Information Act stuff and the material that's being wildly misrepresented. So I do urge you, if you want to go read the article, it is linked down in the description on this YouTube video. But I'm just not a big fan of connecting Roswell to all of this, even though they are trying to connect this metal and so on and so forth. You will see as you watch this video, none of that is very accurate when it comes to captured debris and stuff that they've been analyzing from a UAP. But I'll get into that in a few moments.
Okay, so we're not going to play any more from him. So you're going to have to watch the whole video to hear his breakdown. But now, the thing is this. This guy, Anthony Bragalia, is saying he got, okay, the headline again, right? As clickbait as it comes. Pentagon admits it has UFO debris. Releases test results. All right? So I'm going to reach out to this guy and see if we can get him to be on the show to make his case. And actually explain why this is the deal. I mean, you can read the entire post. You know, he's written at length about this stuff for a long time. So okay, you know, if you want to call anybody a UFO expert, sure, fine. We'll call this guy. I've never heard of him until today, to be perfectly honest. But that doesn't mean anything. I haven't heard of everybody. Not everybody's heard of me. Who cares? None of that stuff matters, right? What matters is the argument itself. And the information that is put forth. Is this real or is this not real? And that's really all that matters. Pentagon admits it has UFO debris, releases test results. And there's more to this. There's more. He's been writing a long time about, in particular, this thing called, we'll get into in the third hour here after we finish up on the fringe. It's called nitinol. 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 And actually trying to claim that this is from Roswell in some capacity. So anyway, we're going to get to that, but we're done. We're done for tonight. So the thing is this. When you see these UFO headlines, basically don't run with this and take it to the bank like it's the truth. You got to be careful. That's the public service announcement for tonight. You just got to be careful. It's fake news. I'm not saying this in particular is. I'm saying there are inconsistencies, let's say. But I'm saying there's a lot of fake news out there, and so it's important to kind of parse the information and learn what you can, and yeah, look at the different sources. Go to the experts, and in this case, John Greenwald Jr. is that expert, in my opinion, for FOIAs. So more after for the third hour. You guys are on the stream. We'll stick around. If you're listening on the Fringe FM, please, Joe Roop. Lighting the Void, definitely good stuff. And then stick around after for Ryan Gable, The Secret Teachings. Amazing stuff from those guys. And let's finish this up. Let's smash this button. Let's see what that button does. All right, that button plays music. All right. You're listening to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. UFOs? Or nah. You tell me. I don't know. I'm not here to make you believe anything or the other. You decide for yourself. And yeah, we're going to continue talking about this stuff because that's what we do. You're listening to Troubled Minds. Be sure, be strong, be true. Stick around for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours. Have a great night. This is Michael Strange from Troubled Minds. Did you hear that scientists recently discovered radio waves coming from Proxima Centauri? Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. We are broadcasting from that neck of the woods. You are listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. Minds. I'm Mike. I'm me or you. And we're talking about crash retrievals. We're talking about metamaterials. We're talking about FOIA requests. We're talking about the government and the truth embargo, as Stephen Bassett calls it. Tons and tons of information here. So let's see. Hold on. All right. So that's the deal. That's what we're doing tonight, and we're looking to hear from you. So if you're scared of dropping an F-bomb on the radio, we are off the radio. So now it is let the hair down time and drop all the F-bombs you want. If you want to be part of the show, love to hear from you. What do you think about this stuff? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. Troubledminds.org is the official website. You guys know what to do. Get you on here and talk about all of these things. And let's do it. Let's do it. So I'm going to play another clip here. Now this is the. Okay, hold on. Let's see. How do we set this up? This thing, the other. News. All right, let's play these and just go back to the beginning just to kind of circle this around for. It's been a long time since where we started. Let's play a couple of these and get this going. No swearing. That's right. I'm sorry. You spent your points. No swearing. If you guys are on the Twitch stream today, you'll know the inside jokes. See, there you go, right? If you're privy to all the streams, you're privy to all the inside jokes. But okay, no swearing. Oh yeah, okay. I'll be a good boy. Okay, but you guys are allowed to swear. How about that? All right, here we go. We're going to circle back to the beginning and listen to where all of this started. Right, metamaterials, and this is not even 1947 or Linda Moulton Howe and Art Bell in 1996. This is what we were talking about 2 years ago. This is not 19. Holy smokes. I was going to say, this is 1984. No, it's not. This is 2018.
A global scramble is underway to identify and perhaps replicate unidentified mystery material that's been collected in multiple sites around the world.
A few of the samples have defied analysis by leading scientists who say they don't know how the material was engineered or why or by whom.
Now, some of this meta material was allegedly collected in connection with UFO incidents, which gives the whole endeavor another worldly glow. The I-Team's George Knapp has the story and the Las Vegas connection.
For years, the Pentagon secretly studied the seemingly impossible abilities of unknown craft captured in these military videos. Scientists now want to know if the materials used in these mystery aircraft allow them to do what they do. For years, one of the secret studies was carried out by BASS, a Las Vegas operation hidden within Bigelow Aerospace. Documents first reported by the I-Team show that BASS landed a contract with the DIA, and one of the objectives was to study so-called metamaterials, as well as futuristic technologies.
It was a multi-layered bismuth and magnesium sample. Bismuth layers less than a human hair. Magnesium samples about 10 times the size of a human hair. Supposedly picked up in the crash retrieval of an advanced aerospace vehicle. Looks like it's been in a crash.
In Las Vegas back in June, physicist Hal Puthoff came pretty close to saying that this weird wedge of metamaterial came from a crashed saucer, but he can't know for sure. Puthoff and his colleague Dr. Eric Davis are on the cutting edge of attempts to identify an assortment of bits and pieces that are seemingly beyond anything we can create.
Okay, and that's what we're talking about. And this was, again, reported in 2018. But it's circled back into the news because of this FOIA request from this individual. Again, his name is Anthony Bragalia. He's got a website called UFOexplorations.com. And he's claiming Pentagon admits it has UFO debris, releases test results. Okay, there you go. Dropping this in the chat, and you guys can check this out. I know you guys, many of you have seen this if you've been hanging out for the whole show. But this is where we got this from. This is where this is coming from. Again, not making this up. There's sources to this stuff, and this is where this information came from. So let's go part 2 to the news just to wrap this up and get us right back to where we started so we can continue this conversation. If you guys know anything about this, if you think that these metamaterials are, I don't know, out of this world, let's say. Out of this world. If you think they are, well, give me a call. If you don't, if you think it's a bunch of hogwash, give me a call. I want to hear from you. What do you guys think about this? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. And part 2 of that news story, action.
This one sample is engineered in layers thinner than microns through a process unknown on Earth and for a purpose we can only guess.
Nowhere could we find any evidence that anybody ever made one of these. When we talked to people who, in the materials field who should know, they said, we don't know why anybody would want to make anything like this.
Astrophysicist Dr. Jacques Vallée has been analyzing mystery metals since the 80s, often using the technical expertise of Stanford University and Silicon Valley to unravel unknown samples acquired from all over the world. Vallée pointedly steers clear of any military funding, and he shared his findings at public conferences.
We have multiple samples now from multiple sources, ranging a wide variety of integrity.
These days, former intelligence officer Lou Elizondo helps to collect and protect unknown chunks for the To the Stars Academy. Before that, he ran ATIP, the Pentagon's secret UFO study, the same one which released the now famous videos. This summer, To the Stars launched ATOM, its own effort to find and study pieces of material that may have been stashed away for decades after being retrieved from the sites of close encounters. Elizondo says there are legitimate reasons why the military and now private groups are in a race to figure out these materials.
What our internal efforts are to potentially, I'm not saying we're doing this, maybe replicate that technology or to reverse engineer that technology, right? Now you're getting into some sensitivities that you don't necessarily want everybody to be privy to.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
By the way, when the New York Times broke its story last year about the Pentagon's UFO study, it reported that a sample of mystery material was secretly stored at Bigelow Aerospace. Managers of that program told the I-Team that while they're familiar with some of the metamaterial samples, none were ever stashed here in Las Vegas.
None were ever stashed here in Las Vegas, and yet I have an article here that says, Robert Bigelow stored UFO materials in Las Vegas buildings, New York Times reports. And if you click the link, New York Times, there it is. Yeah, glowing auras and black money, the Pentagon's mysterious UFO. I have to mute that because he drops an F-bomb. He drops an F-bomb right off the bat. In the New York Times article, he drops the F-bomb. But this is crazy, right? This is crazy stuff. Again, it depends on who you ask. Like this guy says nope, that guy says yep, the other guy says whatever. It is what it is. I don't know. I'm here just trying to have a conversation. I don't understand. I don't understand how the information can be this today, that tomorrow, and it's constantly changing, and everybody wants to believe every single thing that comes out that corroborates their idea. That's not what's up with this. That's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. All right, we're gonna go to this phone call. The show can now begin because Joe from Florida has called. What's up, my man? How are you doing tonight?
Oh man, I'm doing okay. I was debating on calling in or not. I was really enjoying the show.
Thank you.
Kind of feels like a mind bender. It's a mind bender. So basically, the guy was saying in that video, magnesium with something else. And then I got to think to myself, why would you use magnesium? Because magnesium burns in the air. I think Japanese fighters used magnesium in their engines in World War II. And if they caught a bullet, they would catch fire. I mean, if you had some kind of a craft, wouldn't you want it to be something sturdier, maybe something we don't really know? But when you look at the whole thing from far away, if we focus on this detail and that detail, I feel like, you're chasing your tail. Do I think something crashed? I think something crashed in 47. Do I think it gave us some ideas and some vision? Probably. But the news that came out today, I just think a lot of it's misinformation. It's misinformation. For what purpose? I don't know. So they could keep the black budgets going? I don't know. So they could keep that going? Or maybe so they could set us up, like everybody says, for the next disclosure, which might be another excuse to take away our rights. Project Bluebeam.
Project Bluebeam. Yeah, maybe. Is this disclosure for the?
Well, I got to reverse back from the crash, because a lot of people say that UFO showed up after we detonated the nuclear bomb. Well, if you look at the Philadelphia experiment, we were already trying to mess with cloaking technology in 43. If that story holds any water, if that story is true. Now, you could say that Tesla and Einstein And however that story goes about bending light, whether you believe it actually happened or not, I'm sure there's math that proves it. You played in one of the video sound clips today. We have the math. The math holds water on a lot of these crazy ideas. We just don't have the technology yet. And maybe another reason why I came into the news today is because maybe we're able to revisit that technology, because maybe we've made some leaps. It's just some thoughts. Bending light. Yeah, I mentioned it before in the show. I was down on the Mayaca River in South Florida camping, and I saw that chevron. As an adult, not as a kid, like, oh, maybe I saw this or maybe I saw that. It was the chevron, and it basically looked, it was right overhead, and it was cloaked. It was there and it wasn't there. It looked like I was watching an episode of Star Trek, and it was dimly lit, and it was like it was carrying its own cloud. And I just thought to myself, electromagnetics, like looking at a mirage in the desert. I think we had that technology, and I think there's enough money floating around in black budgets that private companies could say, well, screw it, let's chase this rabbit hole, and see what we got. I've been listening to Greenwald. He's probably right. It's probably clickbait. That guy misinterpreted the news. I mean, let's face it, we can read a headline and everything's misinterpreted nowadays. So, anyway, those are my thoughts.
You're the best. Hey, so what do you think about the metamaterial then? About so this guy's making the claim with his FOIA request and interpreting it the way he is, but this literally goes back to supposedly Roswell. So that Art Bell package that he received in 1996 in the mail supposedly tracks back to somebody who worked for the Air Force at the time and supposedly picked a piece of that off of the craft at Roswell and smuggled it home and didn't say shit for 30 years or 40 years or something. And then finally realized, okay, well, I got to do something with this. And then they supposedly mailed it to Art Bell. And so that's there's a letter that goes with it. That Linda Moulton House site. We did a whole show on this a couple years back in December, I remember. Right after Frank left, I remember doing kind of going into the metamaterial bit and the arts parts and all this. But so what do you think about that in particular? So there's some provenance with where it came from, but do you think it's real? Do you think it's part of that Roswell thing? Or do you think it's some kind of other BS hoax or something else?
It's a good question because, you look at Roswell, and part of me is like, it really happened. I think it did. But part of me is like, I'm looking at this aluminum foil, basically, or tin foil, and you say to yourself, they could have let somebody walk out with a piece of a weather balloon, and they could have said, well, that's the donkey that's going to go start the next biggest hoax, while the real stuff we're keeping here. Layers, just like Bob Lazar. I mean, Bob Lazar's story, I want to believe it. But apparently when you start to research a little bit of his background, or where he went to school, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it holds water, some of the background. So, I don't know. And the whole story, all of these stories are engineered to just keep us guessing and chasing our tails. We don't have definitive proof of anything right now.
Yeah, it does kind of seem like it.
Prove me wrong.
And a lot of this stuff just gets regurgitated, unfortunately. I mean, we're talking about the same thing. I mean, 1996. And here we are. It surfaces into the news cycle again. After I just played those clips from 2018, where it circled in then. And now it's back. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, what was interesting, what you said in the beginning of the show, and you do pretty good with the research, and you really do, was that the National Defense Act came up after that. Now, we don't have a time machine, but a lot of us that are listening to the show, we remember 9/11. And again, this country, to propel the people forward with ideas that the public may not like you said, what we call it, the dialectic, the Hegelian dialect. That show was a good show. But we just finished beating up the commies. Not beating up the commies, but we just finished beating up the Germans and, the Berlin Wall and the nuclear, scare and the Red Scare. And, what else could you do? What else could you do? A hoax? I'm curious. I don't know the year the War of the Worlds came out, that movie, H.G. Wells, but the ideas have been in science fiction way before World War II, back to Jules Verne's. So maybe somebody said, hey, I got a great idea with propaganda. Let's say something crashed in the desert. And, we'll have layers of security. And we'll have a scientist that leaves with something. And there goes your hoax. Just walked out the door. While the real craft, maybe it's recovered from the Germans. Maybe they recovered something from the Germans. The Glocke. I almost feel that there's more evidence with the Nazi bell than there is with something that crashed at Roswell. There almost seems like there's more recorded data of the Nazis experimenting with crazy shit. And Rendlesham Forest, and some people saying that thing appeared there. That was the Nazi bell, just like the Philadelphia experiment went through time and appeared somewhere else. Those stories could kind of be similar. So I almost tend to believe that. And they have that technology somewhere hidden away. And it could be off-world, it could not be, but maybe what crashed in Roswell was nothing more than a weather balloon. Who the hell knows?
Wouldn't that be hilarious? Wouldn't that be the funniest thing ever if that shit was just a weather balloon? I mean,
you're making me think. You're making me think. I want to believe something crashed there. I want to believe that they picked up some little gray men, but maybe they did, but not there. But maybe not there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know. That's why we have the conversation about this. Joe, you are the man. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much.
And let's not forget Wright-Patterson, because a lot of that stuff supposedly went to Wright-Patterson, I think, in Ohio, and that usually does not get talked about.
Exactly.
And again, Area 51 in Groom Lake, that's wide open. That's where everybody keeps their eye at, and that's what they want you to do. While everything else is private industry. So. Anyway, have a good night, guys. I got to get up early in the morning.
Thank you for the call, my man. Joe from Florida. God bless you and the family.
No
have
problem.
a great night, okay?
All right.
Thanks, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye. There you go. Simple as that. You guys want to be on the show just like Joe? 702-957-1037. That's the Las Vegas area code. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. What do you think? There's a lot here. Now, let's continue. There's more. Yeah, there's more. So this dude, his name is, I keep forgetting his name, Anthony Bragalia. All right. Now, this guy, he's been writing on this blog for a very, very long time. All right. Now, let's go to this real fast. We're going to go to his, let's see, where is it? I got it here somewhere. So he's got another link in his blog where he talks about, here we go. Now this is from, I'm going to link this. This is from his blog, and this is from June of 2009. All right, now check this out. What's up? I see you, MJ. What's up? Thanks for showing up. Let's see. Let's actually say hi to the chat. I haven't been very social. Let's go back to the chat. What's up, Kelly? Kelly, our first ever caller that I can remember. I'm pretty sure it was Kelly. Thanks for showing up, Kelly. What's up? Let's see. Paul says Tesla had the best chances for understanding that technology. Yes, definitely. Let's see. Operation Paperclip, says John, and that could be. Ben says, I know the UFO I seen a few years back. It had a light coming out the side of it. It came back on the side, then went back in a laser, but working like a strobe light. Odd thing is the surface it came out was solid, no seam anywhere, right? And we've seen these. Like, we see these things all over the place. Paul says, if H.G. Wells' broadcast had said the crafts and being came in peace and we're here to help humanity instead of it being an invasion and death, how would the reaction went? Not only that, how would it have changed the mythology of UFOs and aliens and that narrative to the modern times? I mean, I think that's a fantastic question. Derek says, I hope you're doing well. It was negative 49 degrees Celsius here yesterday. Holy crap, better you than me. No, thank you. John says swamp gas. Swamp gas. Michael Joshua, what's up? I see you over there. Thanks for showing up. Who else do we got? Brian. Leslie, who else? Bailey, of course. Bailey, who's been very consistent today, trying to keep me from swearing. You can only hope to contain me. You can't shut me down. You just can't do it. All right, here we go. We're going to go to another call. Jay from New York, you're on Troubled Minds. How you doing, my man? How you feeling tonight?
I'm doing great. The swearing thing is, I don't know, is that censorship?
Nah. It's commercialism, man. It's commercialism. So basically, they run commercials, and if you run commercials, you don't want people dropping F-bombs and then running like, oh, you're like, fuck the FCC, and then they're like, buy our product right after that. You know what I mean? It doesn't.
So obviously, we're not on the air now.
Correct. Correct.
I don't know. I've been listening to the radio show in my driving time and stuff on the way home on the phone, and just I noticed that you've gotten a little bit more liberal with the swearing on the news thing.
Oh,
now we're getting strict on the fringe.
No. I've always been an F-bomb dropper. It just comes out of my mouth. I can't help it. I just can't help it sometimes.
I know. I remember talking to you. I've only known you a couple of 2-3 months, and I remember when I first met you. That's what I was talking to you. Is because, hey, this guy's on my same page. What the heck,
It's okay. It's okay. All right. Let's wrangle you up and get back to the topic. What do you think about these metamaterials? Do you think these were actually removed from the Roswell crash, or do you think there's something else involved here?
There's got to be. How much are they worth? What are you sitting on? What do you got? Everybody's buying the silver. Those kids with it stopped at the GameStop and then went to the silver and everything else like that. What if they start buying up this crap? Is it fuel? Is it the material the ship's made out of? What do we really know about it? How do we find? Can we touch it? Anybody got a sample? Can I buy a gram of it from somebody on eBay?
What's the going price of a gram of metamaterials? Does anybody know?
Can I hit it with a hammer? Can I try my grinder on it? I got a sawzall.
Yeah. No. So there's only
go back together, really, like they said.
Yeah, no. So there's only a little tiny piece of it, as far as we're aware. So it was enough to fit in like a like one of those kind of what do you call it? The standard size envelopes? Like the big yellow ones, like those. It was small enough to fit in there, kind of like the size of the palm of your hand type of thing. So it's small.
That's a pretty good size piece.
It is a pretty good size piece, but so the legend says it was picked off of a part of the UFO debris in the Roswell crash. Okay. And they said there's a whole letter. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find this.
You can crumple it up, and then it goes back to where it was. Supposedly, there's hieroglyphics written all over it. And I'm old school tinfoil hat wearer. We were reading this stuff in books when we didn't have the internet.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
All the stuff
Here, hold on. I got the thing.
I'm almost 50.
Well, congratulations. God bless you. There's no crime in being almost 50, my man. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not quite that old, but I do have gray hair. We go gray earlier in my family, so what can you do? What can you do, man? We have what we got, and we gotta roll with it. Here, I'm linking this in the chat, and you guys can check this out. Now, if you're interested in the actual provenance of where this came from, this is where I got all this information. We did an entire show on this. There's 7 pages of this from Earth Files, reported and edited by Linda Moulton Howe, and the 7-part mysterious bismuth and magnesium zinc metal from bottom of wedge-shaped UFO. And there's a picture of it there, and I linked it. You guys can check this out. Now, this is where this all came from. And we did an entire show, like literally going through all 7 pages of this. And she intentionally, like I said, left this out of the paywall so people could find this information, right? Good on her. This is probably one of the most talked about pieces of anything in the entire scope of ufology. And so she left it there. And so if you're interested in all the things I've talked about, I got this from somewhere. I'm not making this shit up. Go to this source right here, and there's 7 pages of amazing information of Linda Moulton Howe, how she got this, the letter that came with it, Art Bell's involvement, etc., so on. So I linked it in the chat. Please check it out. if you guys are interested. I know about this because we've talked about this. I've done full shows on this exact thing. So a lot of the things I understand, many of you are new to the show and didn't realize there's so much behind this, but there's a ton. Literally, like, you can't go and circle back to the what's happening with this particular piece of bismuth, magnesium, zinc without literally going back to 1996 and following not just the Art Bell, the Linda Moulton Howe link. She said she's taken it to multiple physicists and scientists, and like, it's been through tons of hands studying this thing. So there's a lot of information out there about it. But anything confirmed that we can actually say, well, this thing can actually reduce mass when you blast it with some terahertz? I don't know. Go read the things and you'll see. It's frustrating because people make claims, but nobody can back it up with the science, as far as I'm aware. But anyway, sorry. I digress. Sorry to cut you off, my friend. Go right ahead. So what do you think about all this?
No, I mean, I know with the magnesium that a lot of the aircraft had magnesium brake pads and stuff like that. And the fire departments have to go out there onto the runways to put them out. And they got to use special chemicals to put them out. And there's a class action lawsuit protecting the firefighters right now about the shit, or we love it, it's after hours, that they got to spray on the brake pads to put the fire out because they're using different materials that we don't really use anymore. They're pushing us. We're pushing our technology to the fastest that we can get to for whatever reason. And we'll never know that because we're just the pawns at the front of the war on a chessboard. But they are, and I'm talking about, that was going on in the early 80s when they started making the aircraft brakes with magnesium. You know, and when they catch on fire, which happens quite often, you're not spraying water on it because then you're going to have an explosion and a really big fire. You know, what happens if, oh, damn it, let's try hitting it with a hammer.
I'm with you, dude.
And you hit it with a hammer. And
okay, so here's the crazy thing about
this. What do you do with it?
Here's the crazy.
It up into a ball and
no.
Back?
No, so here's the bizarre part. They say that without the energy necessary to do whatever this thing does, it's very brittle. So, like, apparently the person that says they snapped it off of the piece of debris they were picking up to, put in a bag or whatever to turn into the government, that it was extremely brittle, and they were able to just snap it off just like a brittle piece of rock, that it had been crumbling over, millions of years, and you just kind of snap. And so that's what they said. Like, the entire piece itself is actually brittle, but what you heard in some of the clips that I played during the show is that like hair size layers of this bismuth magnesium layers. And anyway, like, there's a ton here. So if it's brittle in and of itself without energy or the power it needs, then you put the power into it and then it becomes, possibly unbreakable. I don't know. Again, I don't know. That's the deal here. And,
well, now we're looking at a fuel source.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the fuel source?
Well, they were saying some sort of terahertz frequency, something. Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Right. I mean, the crystal technology, something to focus. They put a little piece of it in the watches just to make sure all the gears and everything else like that spin in the right time. And they've been doing that for, 600-700 years? How long have we really known all this stuff?
No, we still don't know anything.
How big of a secret is it really?
we still don't know anything. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's why it's a conversation, right? There's a lot of weirdness here, a lot of high strangeness, and again, a lot of propaganda. I think a lot of clickbait, people misrepresenting things.
I mean, we'll give you a little bit of this here, so you click on that one and you watch the ad that's coming out for Valentine's Day for the lovey-dovey movie on Amazon or whatever, It's just really, just tell us. We're all grown-ups now, Why can't we know? They're here.
My hunch is, I know people don't want to hear this. My hunch is? My hunch is like a gigantic degree of the UFO mythology stuff is propaganda. That's my hunch. Right?
I can't. I no rebuttal.
The more I look into this, the more I start to get just
that.
extremely suspicious. And there's a lot of documents, like there's a lot of actual documents that, can be followed up and,
the Bible.
maybe traced back to the source. Yeah, that's one, right? Like that. We haven't done that. We should do.
Yeah, you're talking 2,000 years old.
Yeah, we should do UFOs in the Bible. That's a good one. We should do that. We should do that coming up. Yeah, so I don't know. So okay. So what do you think then? What do you think? Clearly, as we get more information, we should be open to changing our minds. That's my opinion. That'll always be my opinion. The more information I seem to get, the more I start to think a lot of this is BS and propaganda and, misinformation and people trying to make a buck and, clickbait. Clickbait in 1988 was a newspaper article, and some knucklehead saying, oh, look, I got this piece of thing that, you guys need to talk about. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to think. What do you think?
Well, I mean, that's one, old, the little things in the back of the magazines that you read, the radio station you listen to, or whatever. It's just, yeah, they've been preaching it forever. Why are they preaching it? The same thing, you're going to church. Why are they preaching it to you every Sunday and they want you to come to church? Well, to be honest, they want the tithes and the offerings and the plate they pass around.
Hey man,
well, I mean, really, the lights don't go on for free.
Jay, Jay, that is way too much truth, bro. You're going to get us taken down from the internet. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I can't. See, that's why I don't call you when you're on the air. That's exactly why I don't call you when I'm on the air, because I'm so terrified that I might mention something in a joke. Like the time that we were talking about with Ash there about stacking the ballot box for you on the YouTube, and you thought I was going down the political road. Ash covered for me. I really appreciate it. But he knew where I was going with it, but you couldn't take the chance because we were on the air.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
No, I mean, but I understand. I mean, really, I do, because the last thing I want to do is say something that's going to get you kicked off of Facebook or YouTube or whatever, because there are a lot of people listening to you. I got my mom on the air tonight.
Nice. What's up? What's your mom's name?
Yeah.
What's your mom's name?
So,
just her first name. Just her first name. Jerry, thank you for listening.
Geraldine, actually.
Geraldine, thanks for listening. If you're out there listening, I'll give a shout out to Geraldine next time.
I'm going to get the wooden spoon for telling you her name was
Geraldine. Exactly, right? Exactly, the wooden spoon. Make sure you give it to him hard, please. Leave a mark. Jay, you're the best. You're the best. A final thought. We're going to keep on moving here.
It's just take care of each other. Try not to be mean to nobody.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother.
Look out for ourselves and smarter. Let's try to make ourselves, knowledge is power. The more you know.
Amen, brother.
Back in the 70s, the little commercials with "I'm just a bill."
And the 80s, they had the this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs with the egg. Remember? Yeah. Okay. All right. Jay, you're the best. I appreciate you calling.
Iron Brian fan.
I appreciate you calling. Have a great night, okay?
Good night, Mike.
Thanks a lot, man. Talk to you soon. All right, there you go. Simple as that. You guys want to be part of the show? Look, I'll be nice to you. Look, how do we not have a good time when you call? 702-957-1037. What a blast. Thanks for the calls, guys. It makes my world go round. You have no idea. If I sit here and talk to myself for 3 hours, I'm like, want to punch myself in the face. But if you guys call me, it changes things. The world changes. I start to see the world in a lovey-dovey fashion, and that there's people out there and they really care. As I twist your arm. Okay, but anyway, let's continue. So this came from the 7-part mysterious bismuth and magnesium zinc metal from bottom of wedge-shaped UFO. All right. Now this is again earthfiles.com/bismuth BISMUTH. Right there. And there's an unbelievable amount of information here. She has intentionally left it outside of her paywall because Earth Files is a pay service where to get her content you have to pay, which is fine. Like she works hard and she deserves it. I'm not complaining about that. I'm saying she was gracious enough to leave this particular information outside of the paywall so people could access it. And look at this. Like, it's an unbelievable amount of information here. I'm going to just click on the first page. Look at this. Look at how this starts, right? Here you go. Like, you have the actual letters, right? That were dropped. Oh crap. I think she paywalled it. Damn it. Let's go to page 2. I hope she didn't paywall. Maybe this was a mistake. Damn it. All right. So anyway, yeah. So it used to be pages and pages and pages of great information, and she paywalled it. So it's kind of like a teaser on top, and then you have to log in, subscribe, and stuff. Actually, maybe you just have to give them your email address. I don't know. But anyway, so this is where I got all the information from, and how I know a lot about this particular thing, this bismuth, magnesium, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Anyway, so there we go. All right, if you want to be a part of the show, you know what to do. What do you think about these pieces of metamaterials? And again, they're back in the news, right? They're back in the news tonight for what? For a FOIA request that maybe a stretch in interpretation. I don't know. You tell me. What do you guys think? 702-957-1037. Also, did I catch Penny that Jack is not doing well? If that's can we get some prayers for Penny and Jack? Her son has been sick for quite a while. If that's the case, please send prayers to Penny and Jack, because yes. Frequencies, vibrations, whatever it is that you believe out there, send good thoughts and good vibes, and good people deserve those things. So thank you again, Penny, for all of your enthusiasm for the show, and again, thank you for all that. But prayers, thoughts, all that good stuff for Jack. I hope he gets better quickly. Okay. Send them out, guys. Send out the prayers and vibrations and the frequencies and whatever you believe in. We got a man down, and he's a youngster, and he's struggling with it's not COVID, right? It's something else. So yeah, just putting it out there. Sorry if it's a little too invasive and personal, but I caught some of the chat, and that breaks my heart. I hope he gets better soon. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Let everybody know. Let everybody know. Spread the word. Get the prayers out. Whether these things help or not, it doesn't matter, because if you don't do it, then you have no chance of helping, right? So I don't know. You need anything? Let us know. Okay, how about that? That's probably the best way to put it. Okay, all right. So let's continue. Well, what time is it? We got about 20 minutes left. If you guys want to be part of the show tonight, you know what to do. 702-957-1037. Still talking about those metamaterials. We're still talking about Linda Moulton Howe and Arts Parts and the rest of this. And again, how this bizarrely resurfaced from this guy's website. Now, let me go back to this real quick. UFO explorations. Now, this is the guy, right? Anthony Bragalia. All right. Now, check this out. All right, linking it. There we go. All right, so now this is the same guy's website. Now, this is part of the problem I have with some of these things, right? Where we have people trying to instead of actually instead of changing their mind as new evidence comes to light, they try and bend new evidence to fit their old theories. And if you look at this, just throwing an idea out there, I do not know, but the final secrets of Roswell's memory metal revealed. And this was published by the same guy, Anthony Bragalia, who, again, is the same dude who did this. The Pentagon admits it as UFO debris, releases test results. He wrote this in June of 2009, okay? And he's talking about this Roswell memory metal, all right? Way back when. Like, and it almost seems like he's kind of circling back to maybe reinforce these types of thoughts. But okay, so I was looking into this, and there's a thing called nitinol. Nitinol. Have you heard this? Hold on. This is what nitinol is. I was going to play this on the other show. We ran out of time. It's really like a limited format with the commercials, but it's okay. That's doing the third hour is really good because we get some extra stuff. Now check this out. This is what nitinol is. Actually, let's do this. It's called nickel titanium. All right. And that's what these guys are saying is this Roswell metal. Okay. So he says in this, again, I linked it, the final secrets of Roswell's memory metal revealed. And so it's been revealed that this is something called nickel titanium, also known as nitinol, is a metal alloy of nickel and titanium where the two elements are present in roughly equal atomic percentages. Different alloys are named according to the weight percentage of nickel, e.g. nitinol 55 and nitinol 60. It exhibits the shape memory effect and super elasticity at different temperatures. All right. So there's your, this is from the Ministry of Truth, Wikipedia, of course. I'm going to link this. You guys can check it out. But okay, now this is what they're saying is that that Roswell metal, the bendy metal, right? Where it you bend it and it does its thing. It holds its shape like. But okay, so he says it right here in his again June of 2009, the final secrets of Roswell's memory metal revealed, and it says right here in the top thing, was the Roswell memory metal secretly ceded to industry and to others who could exploit its potential benefits? Okay, which we've talked about in the past, and many people have called and talked about this. But he continues. How was the technology transferred while keeping its origin disguised? Why were bizarre mind over matter tests performed by government psychics on the shape recovery metal nitinol? What is the hidden meaning of the morphine metal? Newly developed information provides the stunning answers to these questions, and this is back in June of 2009. Right there. June 2009. All right, and so it seems like he's circling back around and trying to maybe make these things come true with his FOIA. Right? I don't know if that's the case, but here we go. Here's what nitinol actually is from somebody who works with this.
Hello everyone. Today I'll tell you about one unusual object, the paper clip. This clip is made from a very unusual material, nitinol. Nitinol is an alloy of nickel and titanium in proportions of 45% titanium and 55% nickel. This alloy has a unique property that was discovered in 1961 by American scientists. The property of this alloy is called shape memory. So, to demonstrate this property, let's conduct an experiment. Take a clip of nitinol and deform it. Besides the clip, I as well have a spring made of nitinol, which I also deform into a random shape. The activation temperature of nitinol is about 40 degrees Celsius. I have turned on the burner on the stove and put the deformed nitinol clip on its surface. Over time, while heated, the clip begins to return to its original shape. The same thing happens with the spring. This happens because when the temperature changes, the crystal lattice configuration of nitinol changes from one phase to another. Also, nitinol is 10 times more elastic than other metals.
Okay, so there you go, right? So he's talking about like a paper clip made out of this nitinol, this nickel titanium. And so he says when you bend it and then you heat it up, it actually retains its original shape. Okay, so here we go. From the Ministry of Truth Wikipedia, nitinol allows exhibit 2 closely related and unique properties. The shape memory effect and superelasticity, also called pseudoelasticity. Shape memory is the ability of nitinol to undergo deformation at one temperature, stay in its deformed shape when the external force is removed, then recover its original undeformed shape upon heating above its transformation temperature. Superelasticity is the ability for the metal to undergo large deformations and immediately return to its undeformed shape upon removal of the external load. All right, so again, this guy wrote about this way back when? Again, June 2009. And so is it just a case of that happening? I don't know. But again, Pentagon admits it has UFO debris, releases test results. And you're about to see this. This is about to just spread out into the wild as people start to well, as it hits news cycles, right? As people understand that you can make some money off this stuff and do the clickbait. But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is here. You know me. It's not the answer show. It's the question show. And there's a beauty in that conversation. But I don't know. John says, sounds like a regular old nanotech. It could be, right? What's up? Says, good show tonight for me. Good show to you this morning. I'm not sure who we're talking to. Oh, Tamron. What's up? Talking to Tamron. Okay. Anyway, Paul says it's actually lead, magnesium, and bismuth wheel weights. Going back to the Jay from New York says, God love Jack, penny my prayers for you and your family. Thank you. That's very nice. Ben says, until either Russia or the U.S. is forced to reveal their hand, we won't know what they have managed to achieve as far as UFO tech goes. And that's exactly right. And that's why we talk about this, because you got to believe that there's a lot of disinformation going on, and there's a lot of things. Interestingly, oh shit, where is it? Hold on, I have this. Interestingly, so I've been talking to this guy, not recently, but he actually had Let's go to this, actually. Speaking of which, there's a dude by the name of Patrick Hughes, PJ Hughes, and he was actually at the Nimitz incident. All right, he was actually there. So hold on, he did a little thread here, and I want to read this to you guys, or at least part of it. Let's look at part of this. So Patrick PJ Hughes, he's at HughesPJ1 on Twitter, and I've DM'd this guy. We've talked a little bit about some other things, right? He's like I said, I'm not going to give some information he told me because he didn't share it, so I'm not going to share it. But just because it's the right thing to do. But here he is. He's sharing a thread. He was a radar operator at the Nimitz incident with the Tic Tacs, and here he goes. He says, "Going to share a few email responses I've made recently," and so here you go. I'm going to cut to the chase on this because it's a little bit of a long thread. But this guy was there, right? And so he knows not only classified information about the radar situations that were going on, but he knows a little bit more than that because, well, there's only so much he can say, right? And he was there. He was there on that day. During the week, all this Nimitz stuff went down. Now, look. So he kind of goes through and he's talking about the tracks, the radar tracks. He's using the jargon that they use in the military. So there's the second one, the third one, the fourth. It's a long thread, right? So he says, none of this is new information. I've said it all before, but so many people seem to not have heard it, so I'm saying it again. So I linked it. You guys can check this out. Check this dude out. He's as transparent as you can get. If you ask him a question on Twitter, he'll answer you. He was there at the Nimitz incident with the Tic Tac UFOs, okay? Now, check this out. If you scroll down, let's see. Where is it? Let's see. Somebody asked him, David Ferguson asked him, right here. He says, I find it fascinating that you know why they signed NDAs, and you were still 60-40 Rs, right? Patrick PJ Hughes on Twitter right here says this. Probably 70-30, his guess, ours, but yes. So he believes 70% the Tic Tac stuff he saw, if he was a betting man, 70% he'd put on, they're ours. They belong to us. These aren't aliens. These aren't any of this, right? What have I been saying for a damn ass long time? And now look, 70-30, this man says ours. Right there, right in the middle of the screen. Probably 70-30 Rs, but yes. Not aliens. Some sort of technology that we possess. I don't know if that's drone technology. I don't know if it's the plasma or that I talked about previously. I don't know. But listen, a radar operator that was there at the Tic Tac incident, the Nimitz incident with the Tic Tac UFOs, he's 70% sure this stuff is ours. You see, I start to get suspicious. Are you not suspicious? I'm suspicious. Are you not entertained? All right, we're going to finish this up. Got about 10 minutes left, but I don't know. Again, right? Like you start to like listen to these experts and these people that were actually there and know how these radar systems work. And this entire mythology is formed out of all this with the Tic Tacs and all this stuff. And this guy's like 70% ours. Right? And so he doesn't know, because if he did, he couldn't say. He's guessing. And so based on the things he does know that we can't know, he says, yeah, they're probably ours. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubleblinds.org. What the hell do you think? You see why I get more and more suspicious? Yeah. It seems to be a whole hell of a lot of clickbait and a whole hell of a lot of disinformation, and then you get people that are in the know, and they're kind of leaning. At least this individual, a very very nice guy. Again, like I said, he thinks they're ours. He thinks these UFOs belong to us. Yeah, it's okay. Let's see. What else do we got? Lefty, what's up? Says it's American tech stolen from the Nazis. The Nazis. I like the way you phrased that. to keep the algorithms at bay. Thank you. The Nazis. Okay. What else? What do you guys think? There's the dude right there, PJ Hughes. Follow him on Twitter if you have not, and he drops some truth in there. He's telling you what he believes at Hughes PJ1. HUGHES PJ1. Follow him if you have not. And good stuff. He's transparent. He'll tell you what he can tell you, right? Clearly, he can only tell you so much, because if not, he'll go to jail, national security stuff, etc. But that's good, right? I think that's good. Let's go to the chat and finish this up. Let's finish this up. Oops, I keep bringing that up. That's not what I want to do. I'm looking for the Facebook. The Facebook looks just like that. There we go. All right. Let's see. James wants a gram on eBay. What's up? Robert says, is this why Russia and America work together in space? That's a hell of a question, man. That's a hell of a question. Maybe. I'll give that a solid maybe. What else do we got? Good stuff here. Good stuff. Again, so nickel titanium, guys. What does that mean? The nitinol. And it retains its shape when heated, right? Yeah, there's a lot. It's weird. Oh, boy. All right. Hey, what else do I got? Any more clips to play? Let's see. Nope. Did that. We did that. Nah, we're good. I think we're good. All right. What's up, Lefty? Yeah, thanks for showing up. Appreciate you being here. Anybody else? Calls? 702-957-1037. Going to finish this up. Got about 5 minutes left, and we're done. Been a long 3 hours. It's been a short 3 hours. It's been fun. I enjoy these conversations. I enjoy that basically, if I didn't do this show, I wouldn't think about these things so much. And these things are fun things to think about. And they're fun things to talk about. And so, as always, I'm just here kicking it, drinking beer, having fun, and being honored and blessed that you guys are here listening. So, yeah. All right. Let's go. Hold on. We got some more. What do we got? All right. So I pulled up all kinds of information here. Oh, here's another one. This is brand new. February 8th, 2021. Check this out. From thesun.co.uk, another tabloid. One of my favorite tabloids. Penny tells me I should love this tabloid. Penny says if I was in the UK and I cited this tabloid, they would laugh at me. But I'm going to do it anyway because I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. We're doing it. This is the tabloid right here. Boom. One more thing before you go. Check this out. The Sun reports this. UFO riddle. Roswell UFO crash debris is still out there, expert claims, as probe reveals something really hot smashed into the desert. Right? All right. More tabloids. So the astonishing revelation, let's kill that, is made in a startling new 6-part documentary which sets out to get to the bottom of the world's most baffling UFO mystery. And, this continues, former CIA operative Ben Smith has been called in to work with a team of top experts to find out exactly what happened in New Mexico in July 1947. And he exclusively told The Sun Online he believes debris from the crash could still be buried in the sand just waiting to be found. Ben has teamed up with geophysicist and ufologist for Roswell, the First Witness, which starts on February 9th as part of the Sky Histories Mystery Season. He told The Sun Online, quote, there are delineations in the soil from a northwestern to a southeastern direction which match witness descriptions of something falling from the sky, hitting the earth, skipping, and scattering debris. During his investigation, he visited New Mexico to search for unnatural features, which could be evidence of a flying saucer crash. Scientists, when conducted an exhaustive geothermal examination of the area where the first debris was discovered, using cutting-edge technology to look deep into the earth for clues. The experts scoured in the desert with state-of-the-art kit, including drones in the hunt for an impact and skid mark. They also studied aerial images of the area before and after the Roswell incident and soon noticed what could be multiple furrows in the surface. Studies also revealed something really hot hit the earth and heated up the surrounding soil, changing the magnetic field in the area. High-tech detecting equipment also appeared to pick up signs of metal hidden beneath the surface. All right, well, there you go. So apparently this is a real thing, and this investigation is ongoing. And this is yesterday. So I was a little bit surprised when I started searching Roswell, and this was like, bing! I was like, wow, this is new. Like, again, this shit just keeps resurfacing, doesn't it? And I think at some point you have to go, well, is there something to this? Or is this just regurgitated clickbait? I don't know. I have no idea. Thanks, John. John says, definitely been a fun show. Thanks for awesome content. Thank you. Tamron says, 3 hours done. I was gone for an hour. Sorry. Hey, good news, Tamron. We've got an archive ready just for you. All right, so here's the deal. Tomorrow we got the same thing. We're going to do the Conspiracy News Show at 3 p.m. Pacific. Come join us on Twitch. And same thing, 7 p.m. to 10. We're going to do 2 hours on the Fringe FM. As you guys know how we do. If you're going to call in the first 2 hours, please just hold the F-bombs and turn your shits into craps. It's easy, guys. You can say MFer. You can say WTF. You can say all kinds of things other than those words, right? You can say crap instead of shit. You can do all that on the radio. It's fine. It's all good. Just be a little aware instead of dropping the F-bombs. But anyway, we'll be on the Fringe FM for 2 hours, 7 to 9 tomorrow, and then a third hour with us on the streams like we always do, and that's what's on deck for tomorrow. And we'll have Ash. Ash, the reptilian from Mars, will be here. He's committed to Wednesdays. He's going to show up on Wednesday shows, and so we're going to talk about some more alien stuff tomorrow, right? If Ash is here, we're talking about aliens, right? Yes. So, okay, there we go. I linked this, the sun.co.uk, and what's going on with all this? I have no idea. The more I learn, the more I think I don't know. I think that's part of the equation here, and part of why I'm frustrated, and why I think it's a fascinating conversation. So, yeah, that's what's up. What's up, Philip? I see you there. It says, and I highly doubt there is anything left from the wreck. I really, really doubt it. Yeah, we'll see. So, and again, if this is clickbait, and they're talking about who knows, right? Like, I don't know. Like, if that's the case and the government thinks they picked everything up and then just forgot it, maybe there's, like they find archaeological samples with, buried in the jungles with thermal detection and drones now. They didn't have drones and stuff back then. So who knows? Like, I'm open to the fact that maybe there's something out there still that was possibly missed. But you also got to believe that the government has probably been combing that area over and over and over the decades to make sure that none of that information gets out. So anyway, what's up? Brian says the U.S. had a head that let's see, what does that say? The U.S. had a head that all five, when they shipped all the German scientists after World War II, Apollo wouldn't have happened so soon without. Oh yeah. The Operation Paperclip. Yep. The not seize Germany. The not seize Germany. Yeah, totally right. All right, so we're done. We're done for the night. But this is the thing. The bad news is we're done. The good news is, God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. And hang tight. Come listen to us. We're going to be on, again, the Conspiracy News Show tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific on Twitch. We're going to be back at the Fringe FM and streaming here on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. and doing our thing. So pack your lunch and bring your cocktail or your beer or your water if you're more pure than I. And we will talk aliens. We're going to talk aliens again tomorrow. Back-to-back aliens, right? WTF. Philip says, well, not just the government. There have been hundreds of people who have metal detected that area. But yeah, no, you're right. I agree. It's probably one of the probably most searched areas in history. And yeah, I'm with you. I probably doubt it. I doubt they're going to find anything. But again, right? Is it clickbait? Is it? Are they trying to advertise a show? Of course they are. Of course they are. Okay. Well. What can you do? What can you do? All right, let's finish this up. Let's play this music right here. No. Yeah, how about right? Yeah, this one. What's up, Brian says, you wouldn't hang the sun up for toilet roll. They would put more on that, pour more on than it wipes off. The Sun tabloid, the sun.co.uk. There you go. If you know how to piss off, if you want to know how to piss off one of our fine friends from the United Kingdom, tell them you found this in the Sun. Yes. Yeah, I've heard this before. All right, we're done. You're listening to Troubled Minds. I'm Mike. This is the show. We'll be back tomorrow doing this again. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Thanks for opening your minds and thinking about these things. Who knows, right? We don't have answers here. The beauty is the conversation, and without you, there's no conversation. So thanks again. I can't say thank you enough. Like I said, I say thank you so many times I feel like a politician. I need some babies to kiss. Vote for Michael Strange. I'm just kidding. You guys are the best. Have a great night. We will see you tomorrow. 3 p.m. Pacific on Twitch, 7 p.m. Pacific. Troubled Minds, like we always do. You guys have a great night. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, guys. Have a great night.